Chapter 802. Ning Shu dressed Shi Sinan and went out of the room. He saw Shi Muqing's body in the living room, wrapped in a quilt and occasionally twitching. To be safe, Ning Shu checked Shi Muqing's condition again. Shi Muqing's face was twisted, his mouth was wide open, and saliva flowed out, wetting the floor. His face was pale. Ning Shu reached out to check Shi Muqing's breathing, then touched his neck artery. There was no breath and no heartbeat. The mission to kill Shi Muqing was completed, but he might still face the counterattack of Shi Muqing's forces. Someone would accept Shi Muqing's power, but he didn't know if they would avenge him. Ning Shu asked, "What should we do now?" Ma Fengfeng really died a horrible death. The old man frowned. He's so young, but he actually died. Shi Muqing's body was hollowed out, so it was reasonable for Ma Fengfeng to die. Ask the crematorium people to come over and drag the body over for cremation. After all, he's now a member of the Shi family, the old man said. Hold a funeral. This funeral was for the living. Ning Shu nodded. As soon as he picked up the phone, he heard a heart-wrenching scream. "Uncle!" This voice was so sharp and sorrowful that Ning Shu almost threw the phone in his hand away. Even the old man couldn't help but cover his heart. Shi Sinan, who had been unconscious, woke up and ran out of the room. Her fat body trembled as she threw herself on Shi Muqing's body. "Uncle, I don't think you're dead. Uncle!" Shi Sinan cried uncontrollably. In her heart, her uncle was omnipotent and no one could die. Shi Sinan still suspected that she was dreaming. Her heart seemed to be squeezed tightly, and she couldn't breathe. Shi Sinan's heart was full of despair. She couldn't imagine what her life would be like without her uncle. Without her uncle, what was the point of her living? Shi Sinan hugged Shi Muqing's body, wailed, and shouted pitifully, "Uncle, wake up. Sinan is so scared." Shi Sinan felt cold all over. She was in a trance, as if her soul had left her body. Ning Shu called the crematorium. Not long after, someone came to remove Shi Muqing's body. "Don't touch my uncle. He's not dead. He's not dead." Shi Sinan hugged Shi Muqing tightly and refused to let go. "No, don't hurt uncle." The crematorium staff had no choice but to look at the old man in the wheelchair and asked, "Do you want to cremate him or not?" Ning Shu nodded. "Of course." "Mum, don't do this." Shi Sinan looked at Ning Shu pleadingly. "Don't hurt uncle. He's not dead." Shi Sinan absolutely refused to believe that Shi Muqing had died just like that. He had died so abruptly, and while they were being affectionate. Ning Shu ignored Shi Sinan's pleading eyes and called several security guards to pull Shi Sinan away. Shi Sinan screamed at the top of her lungs as she watched Shi Muqing's body being dragged away by the crematorium staff. She struggled and threw herself at Shi Muqing. Shi Sinan was very heavy, and she was a little crazy and very strong. 4 or 5 security guards actually couldn't hold her back. Ning Shu directly chopped Shi Sinan's neck with one hand and knocked her unconscious. Shi Sinan fell to the ground with a plop, her eyes closed tightly and her face full of tears. The old man wiped his face, looking extremely tired. Ning Shu said, "I'll leave the funeral to you. You go and rest." It was only early in the morning, and the old man's body was already weak. After such a torment, his face was ashen and very ugly. The caregiver pushed the old man to rest. The security guards went to patrol around the villa. Ning Shu was alone in the living room with Shi Sinan, who was unconscious on the ground. Shi Sinan was so heavy that Ning Shu couldn't drag her to the bed. He took a thin quilt and covered her with it, then left her alone. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa and began to cultivate. Recently, Ning Shu felt very tired. There was always something going on one after another. This body was already a middle-aged person. After such a period of torment, climbing walls and jumping cars, his body was a little overwhelmed. Shi Sinan, who had been knocked unconscious by Ning Shu, woke up very quickly. It only took 2 hours. Ning Shu thought that she would sleep until morning. Was this the power of love? Shi Sinan woke up with a groan and raised her hand with difficulty to touch her neck. She turned her head and saw Ning Shu on the sofa. She immediately shouted angrily at Ning Shu, "Mom, I hate you, I hate you. In the face of Shi Sinan's vigorous resentment and hatred, Ning Shu's expression didn't change. He only felt exceptionally speechless. If either Shirlena or the old man had died, Shi Sinan wouldn't be so crazy. After all her family members died, her uncle comforted her. He comforted her in all directions and in all kinds of positions, blah blah blah. Shi Sinan cried and wanted to run out of the villa to find her uncle, but she was stopped by the security guards. Shi Sinan hated these despicable security guards to death. She waved her hand and scratched the security guard's face. Shi Sinan's fingernails left red marks on the security guard's face. Ning Shu shouted angrily, "Enough, what are you doing? Don't you think it's embarrassing enough?" "Shi Sinan, you have to have a little shame now. Hurry up and get back to the house," Ning Shu said coldly. Shi Sinan stopped waving her hand and turned to look at Ning Shu. She bit her lips so hard that it was bleeding. Her eyes were filled with despair and pain. I hate you to death." Shi Sinan's lips were bleeding. "I just don't have any shame. I just like my uncle. I love him. I can't live without him. I don't care if he's my uncle or not." Shi Sinan's voice was hoarse and her eyes were red. "You don't have a heart at all. Your heart is cold and hard. That's why Dad left you. No one loves you because you're cruel and heartless." Shi Sinan pounded her chest, causing her arms and chest to ripple. "Do you know how uncomfortable it is here? It's so uncomfortable that I feel like I'm going to die." Ning Shu pursed his lips. "Then go to hell. Mom, please let me see my uncle. I beg you." Shi Sinan's face was pale as she cried and begged Ning Shu. Ning Shu's expression was indifferent. What was this? She had just accused her of being cruel and heartless, and now she was begging her. "What the hell did I owe you?" Ning Shu said to the security guard, "Drag her back to her room." Shi Sinan looked at Ning Shu in shock. "How can you do this?" Shi Sinan was dragged to her room by several security guards. Shi Sinan struggled violently as she shouted at Ning Shu, "Mom, I hate you. I hate you. You never know love. You're always a lonely, pitiful wretch who no one loves." Chapter 803. Ning Shu's expression didn't change as he listened to Shi Sinan's curses. Cursing her to die without a man, he dug his ears. A pitiful worm that no one loves. So scary. I'm so cold, heartless, and unreasonable. If a woman can't wait for the love of the opposite sex, she can't get the respect of the same sex. Women are cheap. The innocent and beautiful Shi Sinan used this as a weapon to attack him. You're an old witch that no one wants. You don't know love. No man doesn't love you. A man's love directly reflects a woman's charm. Shi Sinan was dragged into the room by the security guard. Ning Shu locked the door, and Shi Sinan cried as she banged on the door. Ning Shu ignored Shi Sinan. Shi Sinan shouted in the room, "Mom, if you don't let me see Uncle, I'll die for you. I don't want to live without Uncle." Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu opened the door. "Do you really want to see your uncle thrown into the furnace and turn into a pile of ashes?" "Nonsense, you're talking nonsense." When Shi Sinan heard Ning Shu say this, she couldn't take it anymore and shook her head frantically. "Uncle can't be dead. Impossible." Shi Sinan rushed outside, but Ning Shu pulled her back. "Since you want to go, I'll take you there." Ning Shu drove Sinan to the crematorium. At this time, an undertaker was putting on makeup for Shi Muching. After the makeup was done, he was about to be cremated. When Shi Sinan saw Shi Muching lying motionless on the table, she immediately pounced over. The undertaker was shocked. Shi Sinan hugged Shi Muching and wailed. In the end, it was Ning Shu who pulled Shi Sinan over. Shi Sinan was very strong when she went crazy. Ning Shu still had to mobilize the energy in his dantian to hold Shi Sinan. No. Shi Sinan watched helplessly as her uncle was pushed into the furnace. The flames burned her uncle's body, but he didn't react at all. If her uncle really died, what would she do if she was left alone? Shi Sinan couldn't take it anymore and fainted. Ning Shu could only drag Shi Sinan into the car, take Shi Muching's ashes, and drive back to the villa. Next, Ning Shu held a simple funeral. Although Ning Shu did not invite anyone, Many people who received the news came to attend the funeral. Many people were extremely curious about Shi Muqing's sudden death. The cause of Shi Muqing's death was privately circulated, saying that it was due to wind on horseback. Anyway, the Shi family was the laughing stock of these people. Ning Shu didn't care. When Shi Muqing died, there were so many security guards watching. The news would definitely spread. It was better than the rumors that Shi Muqing was killed by the Shi family. Ning Shu didn't let Shi Sinan attend the funeral. After returning from the crematorium, she had been crying endlessly. Her face was full of despair and pain, or she had been screaming heartbreakingly for her uncle. For such a Shi Sinan to appear at the funeral, the Shi family simply did not want to live anymore. An uncle died on his niece's stomach. This was simply Madame Shi. A man in a suit and leather shoes walked in front of Ning Shu. He was about 30 years old. Even if he was wearing a suit, it couldn't hide the cold hostility on his body. Ning Shu thought about it in his mind, but he really couldn't remember who this person was. He asked, "Who are you?" "I'm Shi Muqing's subordinate," the man said. Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and looked at him. "Oh, your boss died in the Shi family. But are you going to avenge your boss?" The man sneered and said casually, "Why should I avenge a dead person? I'm happy to see Shi Muqing's death. Many people are happy to see it." Ning Shu's mouth twitched. Shi Muqing was so unpopular. But it was also true. In order to show the male lead's might and dominance, his subordinates were all trembling with fear, as if they were facing an ancient emperor. They thought that they were facing the counterattack of Shi Muqing's subordinates, so they weren't so distressed now. After the funeral, Ning Shu went to the cemetery and found a random piece of land to bury Shi Muqing. After dealing with Shi Muqing, Ning Shu's heart relaxed a lot, and he no longer felt so afraid. But now there was another problem, and that was Shi Sinan. Shi Sinan was still unable to accept that Shi Muqing had died just like that. In Shi Sinan's heart, her uncle was the person who would spend the rest of her life with her. No matter what happened in the middle, they would eventually be together and be happy together. This feeling was very strong, so strong that Shi Sinan believed that Shi Muqing was her destined one. Shi Sinan hugged the quilt and cried heart-wrenchingly, as if she wouldn't stop crying until she was blind. The old man, who was recuperating, couldn't take it anymore and returned to the hospital. Ning Shu didn't know how to describe that painful look. Was it really that painful? Was it that painful? Shi Sinan refused to eat, but with Shi Sinan's appetite, if she didn't eat one meal, she would eat double the next meal. So a hunger strike was useless at all. Shi Sinan was in so much pain that she wanted to die while stuffing food into her mouth. The feeling of starvation was probably too unbearable, and she wanted to stuff everything she saw into her mouth. Shi Sinan secretly took a blade and slit her wrists to commit suicide. She slept in the spacious bathtub and used the blade to cut her wrists. Shi Sinan was very fat now, and before she could cut her blood vessels, she had to cut a thick layer of fat. It was very painful when the blade cut her flesh. However, Shi Sinan endured it. As long as she thought of her uncle turning into ashes in front of her, Shi Sinan was in so much pain that she wanted to die. It was the servant who came into the room to deliver food. Seeing that Shi Sinan wasn't in the room, she looked around the room and finally found Shi Sinan in the bathroom. Her wrist was resting on the edge of the bathtub, and blood was dripping to the ground. Ning Shu was still at work when he heard the news and hurried to the hospital. Shi Sinan was still unconscious, and her wrist was wrapped in bandages. Ning Shu was really tired of Shi Sinan. She had raised her up, but she had committed suicide for a man who hadn't done anything for her. Even if he had done something for her, it would be infinitely magnified. She had given up her life so easily. Didn't she know how precious life was? She had been moving from one world to another just to survive. A child who had grown up soaking in a honey pot suddenly had to commit suicide when something happened. She didn't know how difficult it was to survive. Only the female lead had the right to be so willful and torture herself like this and fall into the pain she had created. Let's see how far she could go. When one's stomach wasn't full, there would be this time to be melancholy and lust. If he had raised Shi Sinan with the money he had raised pigs, he would have made a fortune long ago. Ning Shu sat by the bed and looked at Shi Sinan, who was sleeping, with tears streaming down his face. When old Master Shi heard that Shi Sinan had committed suicide, he rushed over from another hospital. When he saw Shi Sinan, he shook his head. This child is useless. Old Master Shi was very decadent. The car accident and kidnapping this time had made old Master Shi a lot older, and his hair was already white. Ning Shu said, "You have to hold on to this family a little longer." As he spoke, he asked the nurse to push him away. Chapter 804. Old Master Shi asked Ning Shu to take care of the family, which meant that Ning Shu was in charge of the family. Shi Sinan had failed to commit suicide. After waking up, she stared at the ceiling in a daze and cried silently. The doctor said that Shi Sinan's health was very poor because she was too fat, which was a burden on her body. Besides, she had lost so much blood that she would be anemic in the future. After hearing the doctor's words, Ning Shu said to Shi Sinan, "You're only 18 years old now. Do you want to live like this for the rest of your life? Pull yourself together." Shi Sinan's eyes moved slightly and focused on Ning Shu's face. She said hoarsely, "Mom, you don't understand. Without Uncle, I can't live." "Mom, Ning Shu, Neil." Ning Shu didn't care about Shi Sinan anymore. The child in the surrogate mother's belly was born. It was a boy who weighed 6 pounds. Ning Shu rushed to the hospital, held the wrapped child, and took good care of the child. Fortunately, Ning Shu had been a nanny several times, so he wasn't flustered. He just took the child with him to work, and the office lounge was full of all kinds of baby products. Old Master Shi was very happy to know that he had a grandson. He waited for Ning Shu to bring the child home from work every day. Good. Old Master Shi squeezed the child's hand and smiled. Kissing the child's hand, Ning Shu asked, "Who is the father of this child?" "He was selected from the sperm bank," Ning Shu said. Shi Sinan came downstairs and saw old Master Shi holding the child in his arms. She looked at the child and asked, "Grandpa, who is this child?" After Shi Sinan committed suicide by cutting her wrists, she lived like a ghost after she was discharged from the hospital. She didn't care about anything and just hid in her room all day long. Now, she didn't even know that she had a half-brother. Old Master Shi said with a smile, "This is your brother. I'm still thinking of a name." Shi Sinan was stunned and stammered, "Mom, how could you do this? How could you do this to Dad?" "Ning Shu, damn, what did she do? This younger brother is the child you had with another man." Shi Sinan bit her lip. "What you're doing is wrong. Ning Shu, your father has already started a new family, yet he still wants your mother to keep her chastity for him. They are both women, so why are you so harsh on your own mother?" The old man's face darkened as he listened to Shi Sinan. He lowered his head and coaxed the child. The atmosphere suddenly froze. The child in the old man's arms began to cry uneasily. The old man didn't know how to coax him, so he kept saying, "My dear grandson, don't cry, don't cry." Ning Shu took the child and coaxed him. Old Master Shi said to Shi Sinan, "Since you're well now, go to school. It's not good to stay at home all day." Shi Sinan hurriedly shook her head. She didn't want to go to school. How could she face people like this? She didn't even want her life anymore, so why would she care about studying? The old man waved his hand weakly. "Then stay here and don't wander around." Shi Sinan was about to cry. Everyone was extremely cold to her. Her grandfather and mother hated her. Her uncle was dead, and now a younger brother had appeared. Shi Sinan sank into sadness again. "I'm the most miserable person in the world." Ning Shu looked at Shi Sinan and really couldn't understand. Could it be that a woman's life would be complete if she found a cool and handsome man? After sleeping with a handsome man, she didn't have to do anything else for the rest of her life. She just had to wait for the handsome man to pamper her and shelter her from the wind and rain? Shi Sinan turned and ran upstairs to her room. She was probably going to be tormented again. Ning Shu felt very tired. He didn't even feel so powerless when facing Shimuching. There was no way to solve the communication barrier. Ning Shu made milk powder and fed it to the child. He asked the old man, "Dad, what should we do with Sinan?" "Let's leave it at that for now." The old man sighed and took it that he had raised this person for nothing. Ning Shu didn't have any objections. Sure, Sinan was the old man's granddaughter and Shirlina's daughter. It wasn't up to her to make decisions. However, Sure Sinan could torment herself to death and be in so much pain that she wished she was dead. After the child drank the milk, Ning Shu put his hand on the child's back and sent some gentle energy into his body. It could strengthen the body and prevent him from getting sick. However, this child was quite well behaved and not noisy, so it was easier to take care of. In the evening, Ning Shu put the child in the cradle by the bed and sat cross-legged on the sofa to cultivate. 2333's voice sounded in his mind. Mission completed. Do you want to leave the mission world? Leave. Ning Shu glanced at the child in the cradle and clicked, leave. Ning Shu was suddenly in a trance. When he opened his eyes, he was already in the system space. Ning Shu immediately collapsed and lay on the sofa to check the mission points. Number, 2333. Name, Ning Shu, Intermediate Mission Taker. Age, 27 points, 615 soul value, 300 health value, 71 wisdom value, 244 charm value, 10 luck value, 74 spiritual power, 150 faith power, 1314 force value, 162 aptitude, 69 merit value, 10050 skills. Fifth ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, ultimate martial arts entry, beginner poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, ghost catching skill. Honorary titles, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Tools, Calm Aura, Faith Aura, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet Aura, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker, Chinshi's Blessing, Leader Aura, Grass Blessing, Best Friend, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing, Life-Saving Hand, Zhu Sunyang's Blessing, Completed Shirlina's Wish, Completion Rate, 100. Obtained 2 million points, 50 attribute points, 500 faith power. The mission points were quite a lot, and the attribute points were also quite a lot. What surprised Ning Shu was the 500 faith power. 2333, why is there so much faith power this time? Ning Shu asked. It's the accumulation of the previous worlds. In the future, there will be more and more. Do more things to collect faith power. Faith power is a lot of things. 2333 said. In the future, when advanced mission takers become super mission takers, it won't be about points, but faith power and merit. Points are easy to get, faith power is hard to get. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and asked again, how much merit and faith power do I need to become a super mission taker? Please become an advanced mission taker first before asking me this question. 2333 said disdainfully, don't bite off more than you can chew. Ning Shu pursed his lips. He was biting off more than he could chew just by asking. Are there many super mission takers? Ning Shu asked again. I'm not sure about the exact number, but many mission takers are stuck on merit and faith power. Some mission takers not only don't have any merit, but are also plagued with sin. It's not easy to become a super mission taker. 2333 said in detail. Even if you are a mission taker, you should be a good person. Don't be a stupid good person. Chapter 805. After receiving 50 attribute points, Ning Shu added 50 points to wisdom, luck, mental strength, martial strength, and aptitude. Number, 2333. Name, Ning Shu, Intermediate Task Taker. Age, 27 points, 8. 15 million soul, 300 health, 71 wisdom, 24410 charm, 10 luck, 7410 mental strength, 15010 faith, 1814 martial strength, 16210 aptitude, 6910 merit, 10050 skills. Fifth ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, beginner martial arts, beginner poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skills, beginner ghost catching skills. Honorary titles, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Tools, Calm Halo, Faith Halo, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet Halo, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker, Chinshi's Blessing, Leader Halo, Grass Blessing, Best Friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing, life-saving hand, Zhu Sunyang's blessing. After adding the attribute points, Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa to cultivate. He absorbed the soul power in the space and waited until the power was saturated before he stopped cultivating. Ning Shu 233 said, "I want to see Shirlina's situation when she returned." A screen appeared in front of Ning Shu. It showed Sinan sitting in the office. Now the child was almost 2 years old. He supported himself on the sofa and was learning to walk. When Shirlina was working, she looked up from time to time to see the child's situation. Shirlina had a smile on her face and her eyes were gentle. The child fell to the ground, but Shirlina didn't panic and pulled him up. There was a carpet on the ground, so the child didn't feel pain. Shirlina's secretary saw the child fall and wanted to pull him up. Shirlina immediately said, "Let him get up by himself. He can get up by himself." Seeing that no one was paying attention to him, the child was too lazy to walk. He crawled on the ground and then slowly stood up. He walked around the office holding things or grinding his teeth. Shirlina had a smile on her face. When it was time to get off work, Shirlina took the child back. In the villa, the old man was playing chess with the old secretary. When he saw the child, he immediately said, "My good grandson is back." The old man couldn't carry the child now, so he let the child sit on his lap and talked to the child intimately. Shirlina looked upstairs and went to Sinan's room. The floor of Sinan's room was full of snack bags. There were all kinds of smells mixed together, and she didn't know where to put her feet. Shirlina frowned tightly and walked into the room. She saw that Sinan was still lying on the bed and sleeping in the middle of the day. In the past 2 years, Sinan had gained a lot of weight. Lying on the bed, her body took up more than half of her body. Her whole body was like an inflated balloon, which was very scary, especially the flesh on her stomach. Sinan's pants couldn't be found on the market. Sinan's face was scrunched up, and she couldn't open her eyes. Even if she tried, she couldn't open them wide. It had been almost 2 years, and Sinan hadn't recovered from the pain of love. She lay in her room every day and never went out. She had also dropped out of school. When Shirlina saw Sinan like this, she was furious and couldn't help but say, "How long are you going to be sad for a man who died so long ago? What you have to do now is get up, lose the weight on your body, and live a good life. If you continue like this, your body won't be able to take it." Shirlina couldn't help but say. Seeing Sinan like this, Shirlina really wanted to strangle her to death. Sinan was indifferent to Shirlina's words. With difficulty, she turned her back to Shirlina. "You already have a son. Don't worry about me. Even if my body can't take it, I'm willing. I've wanted to die for a long time." Shirlina was speechless. Shirlina was really angry. "From tomorrow onwards, if you want to die, then don't eat anymore. Look at how much you've eaten. 1 meal is enough for 4 people. There's enough to eat and drink, yet you're degrading yourself like this. You're the eldest sister, can't you set an example for your brother? Okay then, I won't eat anymore. Grandpa can't see me, and neither can you. Everyone can't see me. What's the point of me living?" Sinan cried and shouted. Shirlina was stunned for a moment. When she saw how irritable Sinan was, she softened her tone and said, "Sin, Mom will find you a psychiatrist. Mom thinks that you've been staying at home for too long. We'll hire a fitness trainer to come home and work out for you. Sinan, you're still young. You still have a long way to go in life." I'm tired of hearing these words. I don't want to live anymore. It's so boring. Sinan's eyes were hollow as she said, "I can't live in a world without Uncle." Shirlina took a deep breath and didn't say anything more. She found a psychiatrist for Sinan to counsel her. Shirlina really couldn't do anything else. She really didn't know what to do with this daughter of hers. After leaving Sinan's room, Shirlina put away the worry on her face and went to make milk for her son. Shirlina found a psychiatrist for Sinan, but Sinan didn't cooperate at all and shut the psychiatrist out. When the fitness trainer saw Sinan's figure and terrifying appetite, he shook his head one after another. If he really took this job, he was afraid that his reputation would be ruined. Ning Shu shook his head. The fact that Sinan could grow so fat was beyond Ning Shu's expectations. She weighed more than 150 kilograms. The effect of acupuncture was already very weak, but Sinan still kept eating and bloating her stomach. If she went for surgery to reduce the size of her stomach and coupled with exercise, Sinan could slim down. You could never wake up a person who was pretending to be asleep. In any case, Shirlina's life could be considered a reversal. After seeing that Shirlina had gone back, Ning Shu prepared to go to the virtual space to wander around and have a meal. As a soul, one wouldn't feel bloated or fat if they ate too much. No matter how much they ate, they wouldn't end up like Sinan. After all, it was the virtual space. Ning Shu sized up the entire virtual space. It was exactly the same as before. There were no changes at all. Ning Shu asked 2333, Uncle crushed the virtual space last time. Is this virtual space still the same? No, this is new, 2333 said. The virtual space from last time is already unstable and could collapse at any time. Ning Shu was the person who could destroy a space and then reconstruct it the same person as the person who was injured by the hidden weapon? Ning Shu wandered around for a while before going to a restaurant and ordering a table full of dishes to satisfy his appetite. Chapter 806. The food in the restaurant tasted pretty good. When Ning Shu ate, he could feel a faint energy flowing into his soul. It was probably the energy in the food. He didn't know what the food was made of, but it tasted like meat. There were all sorts of spices. It was simply delicious. It was very satisfying. Ning Shu was eating when someone sat across from him. Ning Shu looked up. It was a woman he didn't recognize. Hello. Ning Shu greeted the woman. She had a pretty face and looked very kind. Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu and asked, Are you a high-level mission enforcer? No. Ning Shu said. Mei Ziqing raised her eyebrows in surprise. I saw that your soul was pretty solid. I thought you were a high-level mission enforcer. You have a high-level mission and want to team up. Team up for a mission. So high-level. Ning Shu said, I'm a mid-level mission enforcer. There was still a long way to go before he could become a high-level mission enforcer. His heart was stifled. Is that so? Then I'll have to bother you. Mei Ziqing stood up. She thought for a moment and said, What's your number? Mine is 639. We can contact each other when you become a high-level mission enforcer. We can work together. At the mention of serial numbers, Ning Shu felt uncomfortable all over. She asked Mei Ziqing, Will the serial numbers not change? When the soul is captured by the system, the number is fixed. Ning Shu flips table. What's your number? 2. 2333. What's your number? 2333. Mei Ziqing's eyes were smiling. We'll contact each other when the time comes. Mei Ziqing turned and left. Even in soul form, Ning Shu wanted to flip the table. Why was her number like that? He stuffed the table full of food into his stomach and returned to the system space. Ning Shu asked 2333, Can I change my number? I don't want a good number, but it can't be this number either. That player is right. The number is fixed. 2333 said with a smile. Don't you think it's shameful for you to have this name? Ning Shu scratched his head and said. 2333 said without hesitation, What's there to be ashamed of? Numbers and names are just code names. Why are you so obsessed with such things? Of course he was stubborn. How he looked was something he was born with, but his name had to be high and mighty. The person with number 639 said he wanted to contact me. How do I contact him? Ning Shu asked. You can turn on the chat system, 2333 said. Why don't I know anything? Ning Shu's face darkened. He felt like an idiot. Why didn't you ask me if I wanted to turn on the chat system? Ning Shu asked. You don't have anyone you want to contact. What's the point of this? Every word you send in the chat system costs 1 point, 2333 said. 1 point and 1 word. How shady. Ning Shu said, Open it. All right. A chat interface appeared in front of Ning Shu. The message bar was flashing. Ning Shu opened it and saw that number 696 had requested to talk to him. Ning Shu clicked, accept, and typed in the word, hello. 696 sent the word, "Good luck," to Ning Shu and said that he was going to contact the other mission takers. Ning Shu closed the chat system and took out the Ultimate Martial Arts book from the bookshelf. There were more and more pictures on the book, and there were all kinds of strange patterns. This time, the 500 points of faith all came from here. Only when someone practiced the ultimate martial arts would they produce faith. Not bad, not bad. Looking at these lifelike pictures, it meant that someone had practiced the secret technique that she left behind in the other world. He wondered if there were legends of his sister in the martial arts world. If he wanted to gather faith, he had to establish his own force. Putting down the Peerless Martial Art book, Ning Shu picked up a cultivation method book and silently memorized it. Some cultivation methods were suitable for demons to cultivate. If she could become a demon or something similar, it would naturally be good for her to be able to cultivate. He wondered if all species could cultivate peerless martial arts. After memorizing the secret technique book, Ning Shu took out another book and silently read it. After every mission, he would read a book. He wondered if he could become a high-level mission taker after reading these books. He had to become a high-level mission taker quickly. The system space was quiet. Only the sound of Ning Shu flipping the book could be heard. After reading, Ning Shu put the book on the bookshelf, watered the potted plant, and tidied up the tea table and the furnishings in the room. Cough. Ning Shu coughed twice and sat on the sofa. He said to 2333, "Look at the mission taker." A person gradually appeared in the system space. It was a girl in a dress. She was very beautiful, but her face was covered with frost. She looked very old. She clearly looked young, but she was so tired and powerless. The girl looked at Ning Shu and said, "I want to counterattack. I want to sacrifice all my soul power to counterattack." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. She wanted to sacrifice all her soul power. Ning Shu didn't agree. Instead, he said, "If you have something to say, then say it slowly. Soul power is not a small matter." Soul power was very important. Those mission takers sacrificed their soul to counterattack, but when they reincarnated without soul power, they would lose a lot of advantages. They might even lose their 3 souls and 6 spirits. If they sacrificed all their soul power and reincarnated, they might only become ignorant animals. Everyone wanted their life to be perfect, but there was a price to pay. "I am willing." The girl bit her lips tightly. "I will sacrifice all my soul power. I will make that stinky Yang Yuhui lose everything and fall from the altar." The girl's body was covered in thick black smoke. Her soul was trembling. She was going to become a ghost. Ning Shu hurriedly chanted the Taoist rebirth mantra to calm the agitated girl down. The girl's eyes were bleeding tears. "I beg you to help me counterattack. I am willing to sacrifice all my soul power." It was the first time Ning Shu saw such an agitated mission taker. He took out a piece of paper and handed it to her. "Don't be anxious. Take it slow." The way she was crying silently made Ning Shu want to hug her and comfort her. "Beauty, come cry in my arms." Ning Shu nodded and said, "I will help you counterattack. Don't cry. You will only fill your soul with resentment. It is not good for you. Turning into a ghost would only make her more stubborn and never reincarnate." "Thank you." The girl's face was covered in blood tears. The girl's soul slowly disappeared in the system space. Looking at the girl's clothes, she was wearing modern clothes. That meant the next world was still in the modern era. Ning Shu opened the exchange store to see if he could exchange for a gun. Some large destructive weapons were gray and couldn't be exchanged. Guns couldn't be exchanged. Since he couldn't exchange for a gun, then it was in a peaceful era. Chapter 807. Since he couldn't exchange for guns, Ning Shu exchanged for fasting pills, water, and some basic medicine. With these, he would be able to survive no matter what. Thinking of the person who gave him the mission, Ning Shu took a deep breath and said to 2333, "Enter the mission." Ning Shu suddenly felt dizzy. Because his soul was getting stronger, Ning Shu could clearly feel his soul fusing with his body. He felt like he was forcing himself into his body. When his soul was completely fused, Ning Shu opened his eyes and saw a boy standing in front of him. The boy had hair gel on his head and there were some acne marks on his face. This was a young man, but he had a youthful vigor that didn't exist in his twilight years. His eyes were full of confidence and joy. It was like he had won $5 million. Student Chen Jianan, do you accept my confession? The boy opposite Ning Shu asked Ning Shu. He had a smile on his face and seemed to be very elegant. In his hand was a huge bouquet of roses. There were still fresh dew on the roses. Not far from him were a few boys with their arms around each other's shoulders. When they heard the boy say that, they all laughed and whistled at Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. Did his confidence come from this bouquet of flowers? Looking at this person's face, Ning Shu's heart was filled with hatred. He understood that this person was probably the stinky guy that the girl was talking about. Ning Shu silently chanted the mind-cleansing mantra in his heart, suppressing the hatred in his heart. Yang Yuhui saw that Ning Shu didn't say anything. When he confessed, the boy was in a daze. Now he didn't say a word. Was he looking down on him? Chen Jianan, please go out with me. Yang Yuhui said again. His face was sincere, but his eyes were full of confidence. Together. The boys around them started to make noise, attracting the attention of passers-by. Yang Yuhui looked at Ning Shu and stuffed the roses in his hand into Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu took a step back and didn't accept the roses. Yang Yuhui's face suddenly turned ugly. He turned around and saw his roommates watching the show. He felt even more uncomfortable. Ning Shu said, "What do you mean? Give me a definite answer." "I refuse." Ning Shu said coldly. "Ha, I told you. I won. Give me the money." Yang Yuhui's roommates suddenly laughed. Yang Yuhui's face became cold. He didn't stay, he turned around and left. He threw the bouquet of roses in his hand into a trash can on the side of the road. He was incomparably arrogant, as if it was his loss if he didn't agree. Ning Shu saw that many people were looking at her, so she simply sat on the flower bed and accepted the plot. This was a story of being reborn as a superstar. The main character of the story was Yang Yuhui, who had just confessed. Yang Yuhui was a mediocre assistant director in his previous life. He had no qualifications and no works. He didn't have much success in half of his life. To put it bluntly, an assistant director was just a handyman who did everything. He had never filmed a work of his own. Yang Yuhui complained that the heavens were unfair and that his talent couldn't be used. Once, he was accidentally killed by an explosion on the set. When he woke up, he found that he had been reborn. Moreover, he was reborn as himself in a parallel world. There were no changes between people. He was still a student of the College of Communication. However, the worldview of this world was different. In this world, China was strong. It didn't have a colony and had been strong until now. It was one of the top countries in the world. However, there was a lack of entertainment in this world. There were many classic things in that world that this world did not have. There were no Tang Dynasty poems, no 4 great classical novels, no Jin Yong Wuxia, no classic songs, no Titanic, no 3D Avatar, no popular TV series and variety shows. The entertainment industry wasn't developed. There were no games that were popular all over the world. There was no World of Warcraft, no CF. The terrifying Blizzard Games company hadn't been established yet. There was no such thing as an esports industry. In short, everything that could be harmonious was harmonious. What made Yang Yuhui most excited was that there was actually a search engine in his mind that was similar to Baidu. It could search for things from another world. For example, songs, TV series, movies, games. As long as he searched, he would be able to find them. She could casually write classic songs that would make everyone intoxicated and move them to tears. She could casually film a popular TV series. The only thing Yang Yuhui could do was to follow the search results on the search engine and take pictures according to the script. Write novels. Write novels that thousands of people would fight over. Film movies. Make movies that sold out. Countless celebrities wanted to act under him. Sing songs. Sweep all the charts. In short, Yang Yuhui could do anything. He could be a director, an actor, and a game maker. He took things from another world for his own use and even claimed that they were his works. Oh, because of Yang Yuhui's arrival, the entire entertainment industry in Huaxia had undergone an earth-shaking change. He was hailed as an all-round genius and changed the entire entertainment industry in Huaxia. He was the supreme god of entertainment. Because of his words, others could change the course of their lives. Moreover, Yang Yuhui, who looked a little shabby, relied on the system to become more and more handsome. Because of his success and his charming appearance, Yang Yuhui attracted all kinds of beauties. Pure school belles, intellectual teachers, Sundara lolas, rich ladies, glamorous female CEOs, shrewish policewomen, domineering women, beautiful celebrities. The princess of a constitutional monarchy was his die-hard fan. His perfection became the public enemy of all men in the world. Si Fume got a cheat and went to the peak of her life. Ning Shu was speechless. Damn, why don't you go to heaven? Ning Shu even suspected that this world was actually Yang Yuhui's imagination. That was why such a crazy thing happened. This body was called Chen Jianan. She was the third child in the family. She had hoped that Chen Jianan would be a boy, but she was still a girl. Chen Jianan's grandmother named her Jianan, hoping to add a boy. Chen Jianan's parents tried their best to give birth to a son. After Chen Jianan, they finally gave birth to a son. Chen Jianan was the school belle of Media College. There were many beauties in Media College. Many of the girls were going to enter the entertainment industry in the future. Chen Jianan was called the school belle. Naturally, she was very beautiful. However, there were a few school belle. She was not the only one. Yang Yuhui had a crush on Chen Jianan in his previous life. However, Yang Yuhui's family background was not good and he was not very good looking. Naturally, he felt inferior and did not even speak to Chen Jianan. Chapter 808. The reborn Yang Yuhui was full of confidence because he had the system. He felt that he had the capital to pursue the girl he had a crush on in his previous life. With this search system, he would be able to do great things in this world and achieve unparalleled greatness. Money would roll in his direction. Fame, status, women, these things would become easy and no longer unattainable. Even though he knew that Chen Jianan had a boyfriend, he still felt that he could succeed in poaching her. If she had good taste, she would choose him. When Yang Yuhui said that he could woo the campus belle, Chen Jianan, no one in the dormitory believed him. They said that he was crazy. She gave up her rich boyfriend for a poor man. Her roommates even made a bet as if the world was in chaos. Yang Yuhui was full of confidence. He bought flowers and confessed. Chen Jianan naturally rejected him. Chen Jianan didn't even know this person. How could she agree to be his girlfriend? Moreover, she already had a boyfriend. If every guy confessed to her and wanted to be with her, how many boyfriends would Chen Jianan have? Chen Jianan's boyfriend knew about this. He naturally warned Yang Yuhui not to pester his girlfriend. After Yang Yuhui got the system, he relied on the system to sell 2 lyrics. When he was full of confidence, he couldn't stand being insulted by Chen Jianan's boyfriend, Li Xinze. The inferiority and arrogance rooted in his blood made Yang Yuhui hate the condescending Li Xinze. Yang Yuhui hated the rich. Li Xinze reminded him of his previous life, where he begged those producers to get a movie or TV series. The two parties' feud was settled. The next story was about the counterattack of the rich second generation. The rich second generation was stupid and courted death. He looked for someone to take revenge and was repeatedly slapped in the face. Li Xinze's family ran an entertainment company. Yang Yuhui used his own resources to fund the company that was hostile to the Li family. Under the impact of Yang Yuhui, the Li family went bankrupt very quickly. Li Xinze's father jumped off a building. Li Xinze's leg was also crushed by a car. Yang Yuhui had a firm foothold in the entertainment industry. He was in the limelight. He could easily write scripts and all kinds of classic novels. In short, there was nothing he couldn't do. Her style of writing could also change freely. She could film literary romance movies and also nonsensical commercial movies. Both of Li Xinze's legs were broken, and his family was bankrupt. He had no hope in life at all. He had to rely on Chen Jianan to take care of him. In order to take care of Li Xinze, Chen Jianan worked very hard and worked everywhere. Once, she met Li Xinze at a high-end club. Li Xinze looked at Chen Jianan in a daze for a moment before shoving a handful of bills into Chen Jianan's chest in a rather insulting manner. Then he walked away very coolly. One of the women who adored Li Xinze was the boss's daughter. She had her eyes on Chen Jianan, especially when she saw how beautiful Chen Jianan was, so she asked her subordinates to scratch her face. The hoodlum originally wanted to rape Chen Jianan, but Chen Jianan carried the pepper spray with her and escaped. Li Xinze saw that his girlfriend's face was disfigured because of him. His father died because of Yang Yue. His girlfriend originally had a bright future, but her face was ruined. Li Xinze planned to perish together with Yang Yue. He got a bomb from some unknown channel and blew up Yang Yue's company building. Naturally, Li Xinze's fate was miserable. He was thrown into prison and tortured to death by a bunch of criminals. When Chen Jianan went to collect the corpse, Li Xinze's body was covered in scars. He was so thin that he was only skin and bones. Chen Jianan felt that she had harmed Li Xinze. Everything started with Yang Yue's confession to her. Chen Jianan hated that high and mighty person who had news about him on TV every day. Chen Jianan collected all of Yang Yue's works and discovered that the style of each of Yang Yue's works was different. The style of each work was also different. He could write Jin Yang's majestic and simple style that was both elegant and popular. He could also write Gulong's romantic style. He had created a lot of stylish things. A person's work would more or less have a unique style. Yang Yue's style was so varied that it was dazzling. The foreign movies that he filmed were also the core of the foreign ideology. It was just draped in Chinese skin. Chen Jianan posted on the internet that Yang Yue's works were all ghostwritten and listed out all kinds of evidence. This post attracted a lot of attention. When Yang Yue saw this post, he couldn't help but panic. The system was his biggest reliance. Yang Yue had a strong desire to kill the person who posted this. The boss's daughter hated that someone slandered Yang Yue. She used all kinds of methods to find Chen Jianan. She first raped and then killed Chen Jianan and threw her into the sea to feed the fish. Chen Jianan's wish was to let Yang Yue, this rotten person, have nothing. He would be trampled on forever. He would have nothing and suffer bitterly. She wanted to protect Li Xinze and change Li Xinze's tragic fate. Ning Shu was sweating profusely after accepting the plot. Not to mention Yang Yue's heaven-defying cheat, the network of his harem women was very scary. They were the daughters of the upper class. They were enough to set up a protective umbrella for Yang Yue. Anyway, there were no other men in this world. All the outstanding women loved Yang Yue and would be attracted by his aura. Under the monogamous system, these women actually acquiesced to the existence of other women. They got along like sisters. It was really harmonious. They would rather be the concubine of the strong than the wife of the weak. Ning Shu wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and went to the dormitory. Fortunately, he entered the mission not long after Yang Yue's rebirth. The current Yang Yue was not so awesome that he could rush out of the universe. There was still room for improvement. When he returned to the dormitory, Ning Shu took a shower and then carefully recalled every detail of the plot. He recorded what Yang Yue did, which song he wrote, which script he wrote. It would be interesting if Yang Yue confidently created something but found that it was born prematurely. Without the system, Yang Yue had nothing. He was nothing. He was just relying on the rich resources of another parallel world. He wanted to ascend to the heavens with some ability. Even if he relied on his cheat to reach the peak of life, it couldn't change Yang Yue's ugly inferiority complex. Ning Shu was writing down Yang Yue's glorious resume, life diary, and achievements and works when his phone rang. Ning Shu picked up the phone. A hearty voice came from the other end. "Jianan, I heard that someone confessed to you." This was Chen Jianan's boyfriend, Li Xinze. He was such a good young man, but Yang Yue took revenge on him. Ning Shu, it was the first time in her life that she had a boyfriend. However, the boyfriend was not hers. Chapter 809. Not long after Yang Yue's confession, Li Xinze received news and called to ask about her. Ning Shu said, "It's just some random people. You don't have to bother with them. This kind of person needs to be taught a lesson. He knows you're my girlfriend, but he's still doing this. He's deliberately looking for trouble. Li Xinza's tone was very bad. Ning Shu didn't have a boyfriend. What should she say at this time? Don't bother with him. It's demeaning to argue with him. Ning Shu tilted her head and raised her arm to hold her phone while writing something on the paper. Don't bother with him. She tried to delay the conflict between Yang Yue and Li Xinza. Now she had to think about how to deal with Yang Yue. Li Xinza was silent for a moment. Okay, I'll listen to you. Okay, then I'll hang up. Ning Shu hung up the phone. Li Xinza was speechless. What's with this cold and indifferent attitude of reporting official business? Ning Shu wrote and drew on the paper to see what Yang Yuhui's next plan was. Because Yang Yuhui was still a second-year student and hadn't stepped out of school, Yang Yuhui wanted to publish a popular web novel online. He only needed to search for the novel in his mind and then type it out. He didn't need to use his brain and could write a lot in a day. Ning Shu thought about it. He had to get the novel out before Yang Yue. Fortunately, Ning Shu knew the plot. Besides, Chen Jianan had specially studied all of Yang Yuhui's works after Li Xinza died. Now, Ning Shu had a lot of things in his mind. Ning Shu turned on his computer. It showed that he had hacked into Yang Yuhui's computer through the school network. Yang Yuhui's computer had some short movies. He found a lot of manuscripts in a folder, and there was more than one. They were all novels of different styles. It seemed that Yang Yuhui was ambitious. Ning Shu hacked Yang Yuhui's manuscripts and copied them to his computer. Then he deleted all the manuscripts on his computer. Ning Shu looked at so many manuscripts and registered them directly on the internet. He was faster than him. Ning Shu did not intend to rely on this to make money, as long as he could disgust Yang Yuhui. Ning Shu easily copied and pasted the novel onto the internet. If he published it first, Yang Yuhui would no longer be able to use these books to earn money. This was because these books already existed. These books were all popular novels in that world. They were carefully selected by Yang Yuhui and could even be made into a big IP to film a TV series. After doing all this, Ning Shu stretched his neck. Everyone else in the dormitory had returned. Chen Jianan, I heard that a director confessed to you. Why didn't you accept? Ning Shu asked a girl. This girl had a good figure, and most importantly, she looked very pure. This girl's name was Fang Menghan. In the end, she entered Yang Yuhui's harem. Later on, Yang Yuhui gradually stood out in the school and became a famous figure. Fang Menghan often mocked Chen Jianan for being short-sighted and judging people by their appearance. Back then, when Yang Yuhui had confessed to her, she had rejected him. If the current Yang Yuhui were to confess to Fang Menghan, would Fang Menghan accept it? Ning Shu said coldly, I already have a boyfriend. Why should I accept him? If he confessed to you, would you accept him? Fang Menghan pursed her lips and changed the topic. You're so lucky to have Li Xinza as your boyfriend. His family owns an entertainment company. You can be the female lead as soon as you graduate. It's much better than us poor people. Fang Menghan's tone was sour. She was just short of saying that Ning Shu had a sugar daddy. Ning Shu looked at Fang Menghan. She tolerated other women to share her man, just like a mistress. Weren't you also having a sugar daddy? Yang Yuhui's women were just his mistresses. Fang Menghan saw the benefits of Chen Jianan and Li Xinza being together. However, she didn't see Chen Jianan staying with Li Xinza when Li Xinza was in dire straits. Could Fang Menghan do it? Love was exclusive and possessive. Fang Menghan tolerated Yang Yuhui having so many women. Wasn't it because she wanted something from him? Yes, I am lucky. Luck is also a kind of strength. Ning Shu said indifferently. The original Chen Jianan and Fang Menghan didn't get along well. Both of them were campus belles. Fang Menghan always felt that Chen Jianan had a sugar daddy, while she was a pure lotus. To put it bluntly, she was envious and jealous. Ning Shu never thought of being good friends with Fang Menghan. The conversation between the two ended here. Fang Menghan went to the bathroom to wash up. She muttered, What are you showing off for? Ning Shu planned to send all the classic songs written by Yang Yuhui to Li Xinza's company anonymously. He wanted to make Yang Yuhui lose the initiative. These songs were already there. How could Yang Yuhui say that these songs were his own and were written by him? Chen Jianan, Your boyfriend is fighting with someone. You should go and take a look. A girl ran into the dormitory and said to Ning Shu while panting, "It's in the gymnasium." Ning Shu was stunned for a moment. Then he realized that the boyfriend she was talking about was Li Xinze. Ning Shu turned off the computer and went to the gymnasium. When he walked into the gymnasium, he saw a group of people gathered together and cursing. Ning Shu hurried over. Although Li Xinze was being dragged, he still kicked Yang Yu. Yang Yue was also being dragged by his family, so he was kicked by Li Xinze. Yang Yue's face was extremely ugly. He looked at Li Xinze with eyes full of bone-chilling coldness. "What are you looking at? I kicked you. I didn't want to argue with you for causing trouble for my girlfriend. But what do you mean by deliberately provoking me?" Li Xinze's eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain for Yang Yue. Li Xinze came from a well-off family, and he was also handsome. However, Yang Yue was a little shabby. There were shoe prints on his jersey, and his face was red with anger. The acne marks on his face were also obvious. Now, Yang Yue was obviously suppressed by Li Xinze's aura. Yang Yue's eyes flashed with humiliation. "You're just relying on your family's money. How can you be so smug when you don't have money?" "My family is rich because my father can earn money. I have a good life. You're not convinced?" Li Xinze sneered and said, "You obviously want it, but you act like you hate the rich. How disgusting." Ning Shu, Li Xinze's mouth was poisonous. Yang Yue narrowed his eyes and said firmly, "Don't regret it." Li Xinze didn't comment. Yang Yue turned to leave. When he saw Ning Shu standing not far away, disgust and disdain flashed across his face. After Yang Yue left, the people in the same dormitory as him also left. Li Xinze saw Ning Shu. Ning Shu walked over. "Jinan." Ning Shu gulped. He didn't know how to get along with Li Xinze. Ning Shu grinned and asked, "Are you okay?" Chapter 8:10. If Li Xinze was a jerk, Ning Shu would naturally turn around and leave, but Li Xinze was the person that the original owner wanted to protect. "Why did you fight?" Ning Shu asked Li Xinze. Li Xinze brushed his hair. When he raised his wrist, his armpit hair was exposed. Ning Shu silently took 2 steps back. "It's really not my fault. We were playing basketball, and he came up and said he wanted to play a game. When we were playing, he deliberately let the ball fall on someone's body. He even pushed the genius to the ground. He fucking did it on purpose. I haven't even gone to find trouble with him, but he came to find me first." "Don't you think that this person is very arrogant?" Li Xinze asked Ning Shu. "I don't know why he's so arrogant." Now, Yang Yue had the capital to be arrogant, and he had an entertainment system. "Are you injured?" Ning Shu looked at Li Xinze. "Of course I'm fine. I'm tall and strong. How can I lose to a hunchback? Besides, I have help here. Few people on their side dare to fight with me," Li Xinze said proudly. Li Xinze had a strong body, so he wouldn't be at a disadvantage in a fight. Besides, because of Li Xinze's family background, many people would flatter him. Even if they didn't, they would try to stay away from him. The entertainment industry was a place where relationships were important. "Stay away from this person in the future. Avoid him if you can," Ning Shu said. Now she had to think of a way to deal with Yang Yue. "Do you think I'm afraid of him? Even if I can't, there are still Jiaozi. A group of people can't beat a student from the directing department." The Jiaozi that Li Xinze was talking about were his classmates from the same family background as him. They were just bad friends. When the Li family went bankrupt, they didn't help because they were afraid that Yang Yue would deal with them. Li Xinze frowned and asked, "Jinan, don't tell me you like that guy?" "Ning Shu, there's no such thing," Ning Shu said. "You're quite dirty. Go back and wash up first." Ning Shu didn't have anything to talk about with Li Xinze. Li Xinze said, "I'll send you back to the dormitory." "No need. You can go wash up. I'll go back by myself." Ning Shu was very polite. "You go first?" "Then you go first," Li Xinze said. "All right then, I'm leaving." Ning Shu turned around and left. Li Xinze was speechless. When Ning Shu returned to the dormitory, Fang Menghan asked Ning Shu, "What happened? Is everything settled?" I heard your boyfriend got into a fight with someone. Why do you have to get physical? This is the problem of the rich second generation. I wonder if there will be domestic violence in the future. They never know how to respect women. It's not that I want to say this, but for someone like Li Xinze, when he graduates and enters his own company, who knows how many beautiful actresses and artists he'll meet? I wonder if he'll even remember you by then. Ning Shu looked at the chattering Fang Menghan expressionlessly and said coldly, "You seem to be very concerned about the matter between Li Xinze and me." Fang Menghan's actions were too nosy. Moreover, the relationship between Fang Menghan and Chen Jianan was not good. They were not even friends. Although they were in the same dormitory, their relationship was really bad. Fang Menghan seemed to be considerate of Chen Jianan, but she was trying to sow discord between Chen Jianan and Li Xinze. People who were in love would always let their imagination run wild. Anyone who heard such words would feel uncomfortable and couldn't help but doubt their lover. In the end, Fang Menghan was jealous that Chen Jianan had such a boyfriend. After graduation, she would have to struggle for many years less in the entertainment industry. This is between Li Xinze and me. What does it have to do with you? Ning Shu said lightly. Fang Menghan's face flashed with embarrassment, and then she said briskly, "Yes, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just talking about it. Don't think too much." See, this was a person who didn't know how to chat. She deliberately made people uncomfortable. She had already said it, but she didn't want people to think too much. If she didn't say it, what else could she think? "Don't worry, I won't think too much," Ning Shu said. Fang Menghan's eyes flashed with embarrassment. Ning Shu turned on his computer and continued to write the lyrics. These songs were all written by Yang Yuhui, and they were all very classic songs in that world. Ning Shu's fingers tapped on the keyboard quickly. Fang Menghan came over and looked at Ning Shu's computer. Ning Shu closed his laptop, so Fang Menghan didn't see anything at all. But when she saw Ning Shu like this, her eyes flashed. She pointed at Ning Shu and smiled ambiguously. "Tell me honestly, are you in an online relationship? Is there anything that you can't show others?" Fang Menghan touched her chin and pretended to be thinking. She originally looked pure and innocent, and this action made her look very delicate. "You don't like Li Xinze anymore?" Fang Menghan asked. Ning Shu was really annoyed by this girl. She had taken a fancy to Chen Jianan's boyfriend. No, maybe she just didn't want Chen Jianan to be happy. She didn't even think about it before accusing her of being in an online relationship. "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone." Fang Menghan acted like a good friend. "I say, you are really annoying. Am I that close to you? Whether I'm in an online relationship or not has nothing to do with you." Ning Shu said bluntly, "Why should I show you the things on my computer?" Fang Menghan's face turned green and white. She turned around and left. Ning Shu packaged the songs he had written and sent them to Li's company. On the other side, Yang Yuhui walked out of the gymnasium with a gloomy face. His roommates looked at each other and finally said to Yang Yuhui, "What's wrong with you recently?" His roommates felt that Yang Yuhui was very arrogant recently, as if he was so great. This was the legendary aura of a king. In the past, Yang Yuhui didn't have much of a presence. But recently he bought flowers, confessed to the campus belle who already had a boyfriend, and provoked Li Xinze. "I say, Yang Yuhui, your actions today were a little impulsive. Offending Li Xinze won't do us any good. We are studying directing. To put it nicely, directors are artists, but they are just tools for the company to make money. The entertainment industry is like this." One of Yang Yuhui's roommates said to Yang Yuhui, "Don't make a fuss over a woman. This kind of thing is very normal in media college. Every afternoon, countless luxury cars will come to pick up the female students and send them back at night." Yang Yuhui didn't care about what his roommates said. He wasn't afraid of Li Xinze at all. Even if he couldn't be a director, he could do other things. With the search system, he could casually take out something and it would be worth money. As long as he had money, what couldn't he do? With money, he could make movies and TV dramas. Any business idea could make him rich. Yang Yuhui was secretly happy because he had already sold 2 songs. Now, he had some money in his bank book. At least he didn't have to worry about his tuition fees anymore. Moreover, he could make some investments. Chapter 8:11. Although Yang Yuhui didn't care about Li Xinze, he was very angry with Chen Jianan. He felt that he was stupid to have a crush on Chen Jianan for so long. He was really stupid. That Chen Jianan was just a green tea bitch who loved vanity. She would regret it one day. Yang Yuhui returned to the dormitory and turned on his computer. He needed to use his novel to prepare funds because he had to go to school now. Yang Yuhui had already planned for his future. He needed to use his time in school to earn enough money. Writing novels, songs, scripts, these were all endless wealth. However, when Yang Yuhui turned on his computer, he couldn't find his manuscript. Yang Yuhui's heart suddenly skipped a beat. He flipped through every folder to find his manuscript. However, the manuscripts had disappeared without a trace. What the hell was going on? There were so many manuscripts, some of which he had stayed up late to write with infinite expectations and passion. He knew that these manuscripts would become popular, so he was especially motivated to write them. However, the manuscripts were all gone now. Gone. Yang Yuhui was so angry that he wanted to smash his computer. He angrily asked one of the hostages in the dormitory, "Did you guys touch my computer? The things in my computer are gone." Yang Yuhui's roommates looked at each other and shook their heads. "We didn't touch your computer at all. Isn't your computer in your cabinet?" Some time ago, Yang Yuhui bought a laptop. It was like he had gotten a treasure. Who could touch his computer? Now that something had happened, he yelled at them. Everyone in the dormitory was very unhappy. However, Yang Yuhui was about to explode. He had worked so hard to get his hands on it, and now it was gone just like that. The search engine in his brain could only search, but it couldn't copy and paste. Therefore, he had to type out those words one by one. If you guys didn't touch it, then why are the things in my computer gone? Yang Yuhui couldn't suppress his inner rage. This was already his second failure. The first time was when he could only confess to Chen Jianan. He made a solemn vow, but in the end he was slapped in the face. He was humiliated by Li Xinze in the gymnasium. His heart was filled with anger. Now that the manuscripts he typed out were gone, everything was going wrong. With the system, he should be like a god. Yang Yuhui frowned and asked again, "Who touched my computer?" Everything else was there, but the manuscripts were gone. Yang Yuhui suspected that someone had seen the manuscripts and stolen them. Yang Yuhui had been at the bottom of the entertainment industry in his previous life, so he knew all too well about the darkness within. Therefore, when the script disappeared, his first reaction was that someone had seen the script and wanted to take it for themselves. Yang Yuhui's roommates saw Yang Yuhui looking like he was about to eat someone and felt inexplicable. One of them sneered and said, "Yang Yuhui, are you venting your anger on us because you were bullied by Li Xinze? Who touched your computer? You're so weird all day. Are you sick?" "What did you say?" Yang Yuhui's eyes were red. "Say it again." "What did I say?" "You are crazy." His roommate refused to back down. Seeing that the two sides were about to fight, the other two stopped them. "Calm down. Yang Yuhui, we didn't touch your computer. Look for the things in your computer yourself." Yang Yuhui rubbed his forehead and was a little annoyed. He turned on the computer again and carefully looked at the documents. In the end, he gave up. His documents were really gone. Yang Yuhui was so angry that his body was trembling. In the end, he could only search for the contents of the novel in his mind and slowly rewrite it. Yang Yuhui stayed up until midnight just to finish the manuscripts. "Can't you let me sleep in the middle of the night? Why are you knocking?" His roommate said unhappily. The light from the computer and the noisy sound of the keyboard made the people in the dormitory very unhappy. Yang Yuhui's face was gloomy. The light from the computer reflected on his face, making him look a little scary. Originally, he thought that he had struck it rich and helped the people in the same dormitory. After all, they were roommates for 2 lifetimes. But now it seemed that he was thinking too much. These people were ingrates. Yang Yuhui now felt that he should be flattered. If these people were willing to share his joys and sorrows, he would give them a lot of benefits in the future. Moreover, These people would develop well in the entertainment industry in the future. Each of them had their own works. Yang Yuhui wanted to bring these people under his command and give them slightly better scripts in the future. It would be enough for them to become famous. But they gave up. Yang Yuhui turned off the computer and locked it in the cupboard. When the others saw him guarding against thieves like this, they couldn't help but sneer. Another music company wanted Yang Yuhui's lyrics, and the remuneration was very generous. But Yang Yuhui wasn't very satisfied with the price. If he wasn't short of money, he wouldn't sell the lyrics at such a low price. But now he didn't have the capital to release his own records. Yang Yuhui wrote a few songs that weren't so famous and gave them to the music company. He still wanted to keep those classic songs for his own use. It was impossible for him to give them to them, especially when the price was so low. Because of this, Yang Yuhui received a sum of money and his depressed mood became much better. Yang Yuhui spent all his time on the manuscripts. After staying up late for 2 months, he finally finished the manuscripts. He immediately went to the website to publish it. But when he entered the title of the book, he was told that the title already existed. Yang Yuhui was stunned for a moment and cursed to see a ghost. He was the only one who knew the title of this book. There was someone else who had the same title as him. Yang Yuhui searched for that book and realized that this book had been published a long time ago. He clicked on the content and it was exactly the same as his. Yang Yuhui was dumbfounded. How was this possible? He was sure that this world didn't have such novels. But what was going on now? Yang Yuhui searched for other novels and found them all. Moreover, the pen name of each book was different. Yang Yuhui's hand that was clicking the mouse was trembling. This must be his novel. Now, it had been published on the internet in advance. Moreover, it was exactly the number of novels that he had. These books were very popular and had a lot of readers. Yang Yuhui typed in the book review section, "This is a copy of my novel. This is a novel that I wrote. Mine." This time, Yang Yuhui could no longer suppress the anger in his heart and smashed the computer. Originally, the original manuscripts were gone and it was enough to make him angry. Fortunately, he had painstakingly rushed out the manuscripts again. Now, he realized that the novel had been published in advance. At the same time, Yang Yuhui felt inexplicably guilty. Could it be that there were other reborn people in this parallel world? Ning Shu was drinking water when he saw the book review that Yang Yuhui left. Even through the screen and the internet, Ning Shu could feel that Yang Yuhui was vomiting blood. Chapter 8:12. Ning Shu put down the glass and typed, "What evidence do you have to prove that this is your novel?" Yang Yuhui's original copy was gone. Even if Yang Yuhui rushed the manuscript, the date was after the novel's release date. He could not prove that the novel was his. Did Yang Yuhui have to say that the novel was from another world? People would definitely think that he was crazy. Ning Shu did not care about the novel anymore. Instead, Li Xinza's company replied to Ning Shu's email, saying that they wanted to use her lyrics and asked how much they wanted to sell the copyright. Ning Shu did not ask for much. She sold the song for 500 yuan. It was enough for her living expenses. One must know that Yang Yuhui frequently sold songs for tens of thousands of yuan. There was a lack of entertainment, so the price of Yang Yuhui's lyrics was quite high. Ning Shu's 500 yuan was like giving it away for free. Li Xinza's company gave them money without hesitation. They even said that they had other works for them and the price was negotiable. Ning Shu replied with a good. With these things, the Li family would have some resistance against Yang Yuhui. Ning Shu did not even think of telling Li Xinza about this. It was best to hide in the dark and play dirty tricks. Now Yang Yuhui was dumbfounded. He did not know what went wrong and could not find the reason. He was probably worried to death. Yang Yuhui relied on the system and did not have anything of his own. He had not filmed a TV drama or movie for half his life. He had not even filmed a single advertisement. This meant that he did not have any ability. Suddenly, he obtained the system and relied on the resources provided by the system. Once these resources were no longer his advantage would be gone. Ning Shu hacked into Yang Yuhui's computer again and found that there was no way to hack into it. What was going on? Could it be that he had set up a network defense? Ning Shu did not know that Yang Yuhui had smashed his computer into pieces. Yang Yuhui's roommate looked at the crazy Yang Yuhui indifferently. What kind of stimulation did Yang Yuhui get? Yang Yuhui smashed his computer. Looking at the unrecognizable computer, a sense of defeat rose in his heart. Ever since his rebirth, he had always thought that he would have a bright future with the search system. He thought that it was his master's compensation for him. But what was going on now? Had someone stolen his manuscript, or had someone been reborn like him? Being reborn once again, Yang Yuhui would never allow himself to become a mediocre person like in his previous life, who had to lower his voice under the direction of a director, who didn't even dare to breathe loudly in front of famous stars and actors, and who had to coax those who were shining brightly. Yang Yuhui picked up the computer parts and swept some of the fragments with a broom. Although he had vented his anger, Yang Yuhui still had to buy a new computer. Moreover, he had decided to buy a very expensive computer. The next time he was angry, he would not bear to smash the computer. Then, when Yang Yuhui went to buy a computer, he was inexplicably despised by the shop assistant, who said that Yang Yuhui couldn't afford it. Yang Yuhui changed to another shop assistant, swiped his card, and then walked away very pretentiously. The shop assistant was left pounding his chest and stamping his feet, regretting that he had looked down on them and missed the generous commission. Anyway, no matter where the protagonist went, there would always be a brainless passerby who would give him a chance to show off. Even when they were having a meal, the waitress in the hotel was chased by a rich second generation. The girl was impatient, and then the protagonist came out to slap her in the face. The stupid second generation would find someone to take revenge, and then he would be slapped in the face again. Ning Shu was still working tirelessly to hack into Yang Yuhui's computer, but he still couldn't hack it, so he gave up for the time being. Recently, the singer I like released a few good songs, said one of his roommates in the dormitory. Ning Shu asked, "What songs are they?" His roommate told Ning Shu the names of the songs. Ning Shu searched online and found that they were songs from that world, but it was sung by a different singer. Ning Shu looked at the information of the songs. The lyricist was Yang Yuhui's name. "Hey, Yang Yuhui, the lyricist is Yang Yuhui?" Fang Menghan looked at the phone and called out in surprise. Then, Ning Shu asked, "This Yang Yuhui is from the directing department. Is the Yang Yuhui who confessed to you the same person?" "I don't know," Ning Shu said faintly. Fang Menghan rolled her eyes and listened to the song on the phone. She felt that it was necessary for her to investigate if it was the same person. The songs that had just been released had caused quite a stir, and the name of the lyricist, Yang Yuhui, had also attracted the attention of the students. Especially those who knew Yang Yuhui, they all felt that it was the same name. For example, Fang Menghan went to find Yang Yuhui to test if Yang Yuhui was the lyricist of those songs. Yang Yuhui had already noticed that many people were looking at him, and they were whispering to each other. Yang Yuhui couldn't help but straighten his back. This made him a little charming. Success and fame were the greatest charm of a man. Fang Menghan looked at Yang Yuhui who was walking towards her. Suddenly, her heart beat violently, and her whole body seemed to be electrified. Fang Menghan blushed a little. She walked over and asked directly, "Senior, are you the lyricist of those songs?" Fang Menghan looked pure and charming, and her smile was very sweet. Yang Yuhui didn't get angry when she asked such a rude question. Perhaps the existence of these songs gave Yang Yuhui confidence. Looking at Fang Menghan's flawless and beautiful face, Yang Yuhui wanted to tease her. "Do you think there is a second person called Yang Yuhui?" Fang Menghan immediately widened her eyes. Her pair of clear eyes reflected Yang Yuhui's face, which made Yang Yuhui's heart tremble. He felt that this girl was much more beautiful and pure than Qin Jinan. "Senior, are you really the lyricist? Are you really so talented?" Fang Menghan said with some disbelief. Her appearance was very delicate and charming, which made Yang Yuhui feel that she was very cute. He wanted to reach out and touch her face. Thinking of this, Yang Yuhui's hand actually pinched Fang Menghan's face. It felt smooth and tender to the touch. This was the first time Yang Yuhui touched a girl's face. He narrowed his eyes and was somewhat intoxicated. "Senior." Fang Menghan couldn't help but take a step back and stared at Yang Yue. Yang Yue coughed awkwardly and said righteously, "I am helping you to pinch and see if you are dreaming." Fang Menghan snorted. Glancing at Yang Yue, she turned around and ran away. Yang Yue saw Fang Menghan's skirt fluttering, and her figure was graceful. He pinched Fang Menghan's fingertip and rubbed it. He then put it on the tip of his nose and smelled it. Fang Menghan ran back to the dormitory with a red face. She took off her shoes and climbed onto the bed. She turned on her phone and listened to the song written by Yang Yue over and over again. Ning Shu saw Fang Menghan's young girl yearning for love. She probably had some contact with Yang Yue and fell in love with Yang Yue. Well, Yang Yue had the aura of a king. Any girl who got close to him would fall in love with him and be taken into his harem. Fang Menghan saw Ning Shu staring at her. She suddenly remembered that Yang Yue had once confessed to Chen Jianan. Although she had rejected him, who knew if Chen Jianan would go back on her words after seeing how talented Yang Yue was? Fang Menghan was somewhat disgusted. Not only did she seduce one person, she even seduced Yang Yue to confess to her. Chapter 8:13. Fang Menghan listened to the lyrics and felt that Yang Yue was a talented person. If he could write such a song when he was still a student, he would definitely have a bright future after graduation. Looking at it this way, Yang Yue was still quite charming. Fang Menghan looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu asked, "What do you think of Yang Yue? He confessed to you before. Don't you have a good impression of him?" "Who is Yang Yue?" Ning Shu asked expressionlessly. Fang Menghan looked at Ning Shu. She didn't know if she had really forgotten or if she was deliberately saying this. Thinking about it carefully, your boyfriend is still better. He comes from a rich family and is also handsome. It's hard to find someone like him. Fang Menghan said. Ning Shu sneered in his heart. He was afraid that Fang Menghan would change her mind. He even persuaded her to accept Yang Yue's confession before. What a scheming person. Ning Shu ignored the blushing Fang Menghan and continued to hack into Yang Yue's computer. This time, he successfully hacked into Yang Yue's computer and had a clear view of his computer. In the end, he found that Yang Yue was writing a script, and it was about the famous Gijhuanju. Seeing the words, Huanju Gijhuanju, Ning Shu almost laughed out loud. There was no Qing dynasty in this world. If he followed the original Qing dynasty script with long braids and bright hair, this world might not be able to accept such a weird style. He had to change the historical background. He just didn't know how Yang Yue would deal with it. Ning Shu thought for a while. Since you are writing Huanju Gijhuanju, I will write a new legend of White Snake. A love story between a human and a demon was much better than a group of lunatics. Yang Yue wanted to keep this TV series for himself. He wanted to keep all the good stuff for himself. Ning Shu wanted to take advantage of the fact that Yang Yue was still studying in school to expose these classics. Then Yang Yue would be able to take out fewer things in the future. Ning Shu searched the history of this world on the internet, searching for the more legendary famous mountains and rivers. Originally, Bai Suzhen cultivated in Mount Qingqing, but this world might not necessarily have Mount Qingqing. Ning Shu searched for Mount Qingqing. Yes, it did exist. As long as there was Mount Qingqing, it was fine. To put it bluntly, this world was a copy of that parallel world. It was just that the river of history had diverged, resulting in a different history and dimension. Ning Shu began writing the script. This kind of copying didn't require much brain power at all. It was just that some parts of the memory were vague and needed to be thought over repeatedly. Occasionally, when he had nothing to do, he would hack into Yang Yue's computer to see what he had in stock. Fortunately, Ning Shu had learned all kinds of coding when he became an NPC in the game the last time. This was just a simple method of hacking, so Ning Shu was still able to do it. Other than class time, Ning Shu spent all his time in the dormitory. During the weekends, his roommates would go out to play or go shopping. Ning Shu would stay in the dormitory to write the script. At night, he would draw the curtains of his bed and sit cross-legged on his bed to cultivate his peerless martial arts. After cultivating for an entire night, he would be full of energy the next morning. He had endless energy for the whole day. In the dormitory, Fang Menghan and Yang Yuhui were getting closer and closer. Yang Yuhui was very proud to have the school bell's favor. He even wrote a song for Fang Menghan. Fang Menghan sang this song and recorded it into a video and uploaded it to the internet. Fang Menghan was originally pure and beautiful. Coupled with her good voice, it attracted a lot of attention and made Fang Menghan a celebrity in the media college. In the past, Fang Menghan only had a beautiful face. However, there were many good-looking people in the media college. Now, Fang Menghan was good at singing and dancing. She was no longer an ordinary beauty. Fang Menghan walked with the wind. Wherever she went, there would be people looking at her. She enjoyed the feeling of being a celebrity in advance. There were even management companies that came to poach Fang Menghan. After this incident, Fang Menghan felt that Yang Yuhui was a very talented person. It would definitely be beneficial to be close to Yang Yuhui. In the face of the tempting offer from the management company, Fang Menghan only said that she would consider it. Then she looked at Yang Yuhui with an indecisive look. "Senior, what do you think I should choose?" "This depends on your decision." Yang Yuhui was very proud. A song he wrote changed Fang Menghan's life. This feeling of being able to hold the fate of others in the palm of his hand was intoxicating. Fang Menghan said firmly, "I don't want to join the management company. I want to follow you, senior, no matter what lies ahead." A song could make her stand out. Fang Menghan believed that Yang Yuhui could write better songs. This intuition was very strong, and Fang Menghan was very confident in her heart. Yang Yuhui's heart was suddenly moved. Since his rebirth, there was still someone who believed in him unconditionally. No matter what the road ahead was, Yang Yuhui firmly said, "Since junior sister thinks so highly of me, I will definitely not disappoint junior sister." Fang Menghan smiled sweetly. Her fingers intertwined, she turned around and walked away. Yang Yuhui was very happy. What he lost at the swings he gained at the roundabouts. He confessed to Chen Jianan and was rejected. However, he met Fang Menghan, who was purer and more beautiful than Chen Jianan. Fang Menghan returned to the dormitory and saw Ning Shu was still playing on the computer. She couldn't help but sneer in her heart. He was proud and arrogant, but he didn't know that he had missed a pearl. Now that Yang Yuhui had become like this, Chen Jianan must have not expected it. Yang Yuhui would become more and more famous in the future. Fortunately, Chen Jianan rejected him. Otherwise, she wouldn't have the chance to walk to senior's side. Ahem! Fang Menghan coughed twice to attract Ning Shu's attention. Ning Shu turned to look at Fang Menghan. Fang Menghan said, "Senior brother Yang Yuhui wrote a song for me. Listen to it. I think senior brother Yang Yuhui is very talented. Why don't you ask senior brother Yang Yuhui to write a song for you?" Ning Shu just faintly said, "Oh." Now she was hacking into Yang Yuhui's computer to check the progress of Yang Yuhui's script. What made Ning Shu more amused was that Yang Yuhui's script didn't change at all. The title Gij didn't exist in this world at all. Things like Huang Ama or Fu Jin were very new things. Many people didn't understand it very well. In fact, it could be changed to princess. It was easier to accept than Gij. Fang Menghan originally wanted to provoke and test Ling Yun, but Ling Yun was indifferent. Fang Menghan suddenly felt uncomfortable. Her anger was stuck in her chest. It was as if her fist had hit cotton. Fang Menghan couldn't bear to see Ning Shu like this. His arrogant appearance made people feel uncomfortable. Didn't he just find a rich second-generation rich boyfriend? Did he have to be so arrogant? Don't you regret it? Fang Menghan asked bluntly. Chapter 8:14. Ning Shu was annoyed by Fang Menghan's nagging and probing. Now, Fang Menghan treated Yang Yuhui like a treasure, and it seemed that other people were the same. Ning Shu said straightforwardly, "If you think Yang Yuhui is good and talented, you two can be together. Why do you keep probing me? I won't go back to you." "No, he can't even be considered as going back to you." Fang Menghan's face suddenly became awkward. She couldn't help but say, "Why are you talking like this? Then what do you want? You're so difficult to please. If we can't reach an agreement, then don't talk to me." It made Ning Shu want to hack the script in Yang Yuhui's computer. But when she imagined Yang Yuhui confidently selling the script, and the other party's dumbfounded expression, she felt inexplicably funny. What the hell is this? Ning Shu was very kind and didn't hack Yang Yuhui's script. Fang Menghan saw that Ning Shu's attitude was very tough. Although she was unhappy, she didn't have a chance to turn back. Besides, it depended on whether Yang Yuhui would still talk to her. Fang Menghan hummed a song and went to wash up. Ning Shu stopped hacking Yang Yuhui's computer. He was about to send the script to the Li family company when he received an email from the other party. Ning Shu clicked on the email and read the content. Hello, thank you for providing the lyrics. The song is now being recorded. May I know your name and the lyricist's name? Ning Shu thought for a while and replied, Don't write my name. The lyricist's name shouldn't appear in that column. Ning Shu didn't want to expose himself now. These songs were classical songs that had been sung in that world. If her name appeared, Yang Yuhui would definitely suspect that he had been reborn. His existence was a hindrance to Yang Yuhui, and it was hard to say what would happen. Ding dong. The other party replied quickly and asked, Can you fill in other people's names and add the other lyricist's name? We will give you more money. Ning Shu frowned. No, if you fill in other people's names, our cooperation ends here. I was going to send the script to you. Don't you know that it's very dangerous to want this glory? Okay, please send the script over. Ning Shu compressed the script and sent it over. He just waited for the reply. Ning Shu stretched and was about to find something to eat when his phone rang. As soon as he picked it up, a deafening and heart-wrenching voice came from the phone. Qin Jinan. Ning Shu was shocked and he almost smashed to his phone was the phone. He put it to his ear. What's the matter? I'm downstairs. Come down quickly. Li Xinza's voice was filled with anger. Ning Shu, that she had forgotten that she had a boyfriend. Ning Shu washed his face, casually tied his hair into a bun, and went downstairs. Li Xinza stood there, his feet shaking. He crossed his arms and looked terrible. Ning Shu walked over and asked, What's the matter? The shrill voice on the phone made Ning Shu think that Li Xinza had been raped. What do you think? Li Xinza looked down at Ning Shu. Ning Shu, what's the matter? Ning Shu asked. What's the matter with me? You really don't know what's the matter with me? Li Xinza's expression was dangerous and angry. Ning Shu looked at Li Xinza silently and didn't say anything for a long time. What was a boyfriend supposed to do? Li Xinza fidgeted with his hair and said, I heard from your roommate that you're in an online relationship and have been staying in the dormitory to play computer games. It's been more than a month, almost 2 months. You haven't called me or sent me a text message. Li Xinza's expression was terrible. I want to see when you'll remember me if I don't call you. This made Li Xinza very angry and irritable. Qin Jinan, you've become very strange recently. Do you want to break up? Oh, Ning Shu understood and said, I've been a little busy recently. Sorry. She didn't pay attention to this baby, and the baby was unhappy. Then are you in an online relationship? Li Xinza asked again. Ning Shu said indifferently, You believe everything others say. Use your brain more. I have a boyfriend. Why would I be in an online relationship? Maybe the person on the other end of the line was a bald and disgusting man with a big belly. Let's go. Li Xinza reached out to hold Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu avoided him and asked, Where are we going? It's noon. Let's go eat. Li Xinza didn't hold Ning Shu's hand and put his arm on Ning Shu's shoulder. Li Xinza took Ning Shu to a Western restaurant and ate a good steak. Ning Shu looked at the palm-sized steak and was a little speechless. How could he be full with such a small amount? Ning Shu finished the steak in a short while. Li Xinza looked at Ning Shu and asked, Do you want another serving? Thinking that Chen Jianan was a quiet and cute girl who didn't eat much, Ning Shu didn't want to ruin Chen Jianan's image. He said against his conscience, I'm full. I'm still a little full. Li Xinza, send me a text message every day in the future. Li Xinza said, Don't stay in the dormitory all the time. Move more. Okay, I'm going to help out at my father's company. I don't have much time at school. Take good care of yourself. Li Xinza said. Ning Shu nodded. I know. Good luck. After coming out of the restaurant, Li Xinze took Ning Shu to a jewelry store and said that he wanted to buy jewelry for Ning Shu. Ning Shu waved his hand and refused. "You're with me, a rich second-generation heir. If you don't have anything valuable on you, I'll be embarrassed." Li Xinze dragged Ning Shu into the store. A relationship that can't be upgraded to money is not a real relationship, Li Xinze said. Ning Shu chose a pair of exquisitely made silver earrings. The price wasn't cheap either. Li Xinze paid the money without hesitation and then slowly walked to the school. Coincidentally, he met Yang Yuhui at the school gate, who was wearing a suit and carrying a file bag in his hand. Yang Yuhui was wearing a suit and looked a little like a successful person. However, he didn't look good. When Yang Yuhui saw Ning Shu and Li Xinze standing together, his face became even colder. He looked like he had stepped on feces. Yang Yuhui snorted coldly and entered the school. Ning Shu looked at Yang Yuhui's back and saw the file bag in his hand. He was probably going to sell Ge Chuanzhu's script. Looking at Yang Yuhui's expression, the negotiation didn't go well. Ning Shu guessed right. Yang Yuhui was going to buy the script. The process was awkward. Ge Chuanzhu was the kind of person who said things like, "You're heartless, you're cruel, and you're unreasonable." Then you're not heartless, not cruel, not being unreasonable. How am I heartless? How am I cruel? How am I unreasonable? Am I more heartless than you? Crueler than you? More unreasonable than you? You're the most heartless, cruel, and unreasonable person I've ever met. Chapter 8:15. If these unreasonable lines were read by an actor, it would be fine. But when it was read in a script, it was simply a disaster. A bunch of unreasonable lines. So when the investors saw such a script, they couldn't even look at it, let alone ask for a good price. But there were basically no good scripts in the entertainment industry, so he planned to buy this script at a cheap price. What if this script really became popular? When Yang Yuhui heard such a low price, he immediately felt insulted and exploded. This money was used to chase away beggars. You want to buy a script that became popular all over the country? Dream on. Yang Yuhui didn't want to sell it. He would keep this script for himself in the future and let these short-sighted people see if this script could become popular. Yang Yuhui was very stubborn and said that he didn't want to sell it. But he was still very upset. When he saw the adulterous couple at the school gate, his mood became even worse. Yang Yuhui chose a new script. Since the ancient script wasn't easy to sell, he would sell the modern one. Originally, he thought that with the system, everything would go smoothly. But the people he met were all short-sighted. While writing the script, Yang Yuhui planned to write a few more songs to sell. Because the songs that Yang Yuhui wrote before were all famous and even made the singers popular, many singers and companies looked for Yang Yuhui to write lyrics. This made Yang Yuhui regain some confidence. Ning Shu slightly squinted his eyes. What was Yang Yuhui planning to do next? What are you looking at? Li Xinze saw that Ning Shu kept staring at Yang Yuhui's back and asked unhappily. Ning Shu said lightly, "Don't you think that Yang Yuhui is a very strange person?" "How is it strange? He just wrote a few lyrics." Li Xinze's expression was a bit dignified. Because Yang Yuhui's song distribution company and his company were enemies, their relationship was quite bad. They both wanted to destroy each other and swallow each other up. Because of Yang Yuhui's songs, that company now had the upper hand and the Li family's company was suppressed. So Li Xinze abnormally hated Yang Yuhui. He wrote a few songs and is still a loser. Does he really think that he's so great? Li Xinze said, but his heart was very heavy. Li Xinze still didn't know that his company would have a good song. Because they were afraid that it would be leaked, the company kept it a secret. They would only announce it to the public after the complete recording. Don't you think that Yang Yuhui is like a different person? Before, he was an unknown person. He wasn't very smart since he was young. When he was in university, he was also a very mediocre person. Now, he can suddenly write such good lyrics? Ning Shu said lightly. Li Xinze rubbed his chin. You mean someone wrote it for him? Ning Shu shrugged. Who knows? Li Xinze was silent. No one knew what he was thinking. Li Xinzi sent Ning Shu to the dormitory and said to Ning Shu, "Remember to call and text me." Ning Shu replied with a grunt and turned to go upstairs. Li Xinzi waited until Ning Shu went upstairs before he turned and left. Ning Shu returned to his dormitory and turned on his computer. He hacked into Yang Yuhui's computer and found that not only did Yang Yuhui write songs, but he also wrote a script. This time, Li Xinzi wrote "Ipartment." "Ipartment" was a humorous and relaxed sitcom. The characters in it had distinct personalities, and it had set a very good rating and search index. If Yang Yuhui sold the script, it would definitely be a big success. Ning Shu pursed his lips. This kind of script could not fall into Yang Yuhui's hands. Ning Shu remained calm and waited for Yang Yuhui to finish writing before he hacked his script. After that, Ning Shu began to rack his brains to write down some classic songs and sent them to the Li family's company. Yang Yuhui wanted to keep these songs, but he definitely did not expect that someone would expose these songs in advance. Moreover, there were already people singing them. Ding dong. An email came. It was from the Li family's company. They said that they were very satisfied with the script of The Legend of White Snake and wanted to meet with Ning Shu to discuss the price. Ning Shu definitely would not meet with the people from the Li family's company. He only asked for a little more than 10,000 yuan for this semester's tuition. 10,000 yuan was like giving it away for free. The people from the company really wanted to meet with Ning Shu. They said that Ning Shu was a talented person and could work at the Li family's company. The treatment would definitely be good. Ning Shu, what kind of talent did she have? Ning Shu rejected them directly and sent over a few more songs. Each song cost 500 yuan. The company gave them money without hesitation. They were probably trying to get Ning Shu to join them. The price was twice as high as before. They also told Ning Shu to contact them first if he had any good works. Ning Shu peeped at Yang Yuhui's computer every day. When he saw that Yang Yuhui was almost done writing the script, he immediately hacked it. Then he would write the rest of the content himself and send it over. Yang Yuhui, who realized that the script was missing, was speechless. Yang Yuhui pulled his hair with one hand and clicked the mouse crazily with the other. His eyes were red as he looked for the script. Where was his script? Why did it disappear again? This was the second time. The previous time, the novel was published online. Now, the script was missing again. His script was stolen again? Yang Yuhui was so angry that he almost cried. The script that he had painstakingly written was gone. What was going on? Yang Yuhui threw the mouse away and turned around to look at the people in the dormitory with bloodshot eyes. Which one of you touched my computer? Was it you? His roommates were confused. This person was really crazy. He would go crazy every once in a while. Who the hell touched his computer? There was no chance for them to touch his computer. His roommates ignored Yang Yuhui and went out to play with their arms around each other's shoulders. Yang Yuhui was so angry that he almost smashed his computer again. However, this computer was very expensive. In the end, he didn't have the heart to smash it. Yang Yuhui took deep breaths and forced himself to calm down and write again. He had no choice but to rewrite it. Yang Yuhui comforted himself that the road to happiness was strewn with setbacks. After much difficulty, he finally started to write the script again. However, something happened that made Yang Yuhui completely flustered. It was that the Li family's entertainment company had released a few albums. Moreover, these songs were good songs from the other world. They dominated the major music charts as soon as they were released. He had kept these songs for himself in preparation for them to become popular in the future. However, now that they had suddenly appeared, Yang Yuhui panicked. Could it be that there were people like him who had been reborn in this world? Could it be that he wasn't unique? Yang Yuhui was panicked and angry. If there were people who had been reborn, his search system was useless. Yang Yuhui clicked on these songs one by one. The melody was familiar and the lyrics were the same. It was just that the singers were different. Yang Yui's eyes were red as he watched these songs become popular. Li Xinzi's company was making a lot of money. Chapter 8:16. These songs should have been his, and the glory should have been his. Yang Yuhui was so angry that his head hurt. He wanted to find out who wrote these songs. He must have been reborn. After being reborn, Yang Yuhui did some research. This world didn't have the things from the other world, but these things suddenly appeared. Yang Yuhui felt that something that belonged to him was stolen. Yang Yuhui clicked the mouse and found that these songs didn't have the name of the composer. Yang Yuhui was so angry that he stood up and kicked the chair away. "Who is it? Who is it?" Yang Yuhui shouted in a low voice. This guy was hiding in the dark. The other party might know of his existence, but he didn't know of their existence. The enemy was in the dark, and he was in the light. Yang Yuhui felt that he was being controlled. His every move was under the watchful eyes of others. Yang Yuhui's heart was filled with anger. A mountain couldn't have two tigers, and it was someone who had the same thing. Yang Yuhui sat on the ground weakly. Why was everything so difficult? He had the cheat system, and his life should be smooth sailing. Ning Shu was in a good mood. He was looking at the songs on the charts. The computer was playing these songs, and they were very pleasant to listen to. Yang Yuhui didn't use these songs, and it was Li Xinza's company that benefited. As long as it could weaken Yang Yuhui's luck, it didn't matter. Moreover, Li Xinza was Qin Jianan's boyfriend. These songs are not as good as Yang Yuhui's songs. Fang Menghan curled her lips and said. Ning Shu ignored her. He picked up his phone and sent a message to Li Xinza. "Have you eaten?" Then he didn't care anymore. Fang Menghan was afraid that these songs would affect Yang Yuhui's mood, so she dressed up and went to look for Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui was in a bad mood, but when he saw Fang Menghan wearing a dress and standing in front of the boys' dormitory, his depression dissipated a little. Yang Yuhui put on the branded clothes he bought and went downstairs. Fang Menghan said sweetly, "Senior brother, I'll treat you to a meal today." Yang Yuhui saw that many people were looking at him and Fang Menghan. Standing with a beauty like Fang Menghan was a very honorable thing. Especially when the boys looked at him with envy and jealousy in their eyes, Yang Yuhui suddenly felt refreshed and revealed a charming smile. "Okay, a beauty's treat is exactly what I want." Seeing the smile on Yang Yuhui's face, Fang Menghan blushed and followed Yang Yuhui out of the school. At the dinner table, Fang Menghan comforted Yang Yuhui, "You can definitely write better songs than those." Yang Yuhui didn't say anything. Fang Menghan quickly said, "Really, senior brother, I believe you." Yang Yuhui nodded and said, "Of course. These songs are just ordinary." Fang Menghan's eyes widened. "Can you really write songs that surpass these songs?" Yang Yuhui nodded. Fang Menghan's eyes moved, and she took the initiative to pick up some food for Yang Yuhui. Fang Menghan only came back at night when the door of the dormitory had to be locked. When she came back, Ning Shu noticed that her face was flushed, and her body was exuding a special charm. There was a hint of joy on her face. As soon as she came back, she lay on the bed without washing up. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. Fang Menghan must have been pushed down by Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui was a woman-pushing maniac. Basically, all the women who were flirting with him ended up in bed. And most of the time, it was the women who took the initiative. It was as if this was the only way to show off Yang Yuhui's masculine charm. There were so many women who loved him. Fang Menghan had always flaunted herself as a pure lotus. In Ning Shu's view, she was just using her body in exchange for benefits. When Yang Yuhui left the school, he would meet more and more women of all types. He would collect women like collecting stamps. Ning Shu stayed in the dormitory every day, paying attention to Yang Yuhui all the time. In the afternoon, he sent a message to Li Xinza, but Li Xinza hadn't replied yet. Ning Shu thought for a while and sent another message. After waiting for a while, there was still no reply. It was already very late. Ning Shu washed up and climbed into bed. He closed the curtains and sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate. Ning Shu cultivated until dawn. He stopped and picked up his phone from the bedside. There were no calls or messages. Ning Shu, what was the situation now? Did she lose Qin Jianan's boyfriend? In the novel, they were so in love and relied on each other when they were in dire straits. Well, it was a different person now. Even if the body was still Qin Jianan's, she was still not Qin Jianan. The person Li Xinza loved was Qin Jianan. A person's soul and body were one. If one was missing, it would no longer be her. Ning Shu was thinking about it when his phone rang. Ning Shu quickly picked it up. The few people in the dormitory were still sleeping. Ning Shu got out of bed and heard Li Xinza's voice from the phone. "I'm downstairs." Ning Shu looked down from the window and saw Li Xinza leaning against a car. He raised his head and looked in the direction of his dormitory. Ning Shu hung up and went downstairs. Li Xinza was wearing a shirt with a casual suit on the outside. He looked much more mature than when he was in school. His face was a little haggard, but he was still in good spirits. He seemed to be full of energy. "I just received your message this morning," Li Xinza said. "The company has been very busy recently. There are a lot of new songs to record and a few TV series to film. I've been very busy recently, so I might not be able to come and see you." It seemed that the Li family company was going to film a TV series. It was probably going to be a big one. Ning Shu nodded. "Then you should rest well." Li Xinza said, "I'm quite excited. This time, the company will definitely reach a higher level." "Congratulations," Ning Shu said with a smile. "Then I might not be able to receive your calls or see your messages during this period of time," Li Xinza said. "Don't be angry. It's okay. Your work is more important." Ning Shu waved his hand and said, "Then I won't call or text you in the future to disturb you." "Li Xinza, you don't want to call or text me, right?" Li Xinza was a little speechless. "I found that you've been a lot colder to me recently." "Ha, am I? I don't think so." Ning Shu said with a smile, "If two people love each other for a long time, why would they be together all the time? Work hard." Ning Shu patted Li Xinza's shoulder. "I brought you breakfast." Li Xinza opened the car door and handed the bag to Ning Shu. "Thank you. Have you eaten yet? You can eat these." Ning Shu didn't take the bag. "You work so hard every day. Only when you eat will you have the strength to work." He didn't know why, but every time he heard his girlfriend speak, he felt a little stifled. And it was quite strange. Li Xinza clearly felt that Chen Jianan didn't have any love for him. Did their love dissipate? Chapter 8:17. Ning Shu and Li Xinza looked at each other in silence. Li Xinza just looked at him with an inexplicable expression. Ning Shu's eyes flashed. He smiled and said, "You look tired. Do you want to go back and rest? Although work is important, your health is more important." "Are you chasing me away?" Li Xinza said with a blank expression. Ning Shu quickly shook his head. "No, I don't mean that. Don't think too much." "Fuck, what should I say? This is too unreasonable." "Then I'm leaving. Remember to call or text me," Li Xinza said as he reached out to open the car door. Ning Shu opened his mouth and nodded. He originally wanted to say that he shouldn't disturb Li Xinza since work was so busy. He was afraid that Li Xinza would be angry. Are all couples so lovey-dovey? Do they have so much to say to each other? Sure enough, being alone is the best. Li Xinza reversed the car and drove away. After Li Xinza left, Ning Shu let out a long breath and turned to go upstairs with a breakfast box in his hand. After breakfast, Ning Shu tidied up and prepared to go to class. He saw that Fang Menghan was still sleeping on the bed. Almost everyone in the dormitory had left. "Hey, Fang Menghan, it's time for class." Ning Shu called Fang Menghan. Fang Menghan's eyelashes trembled. She woke up and sat up with a hiss. She didn't look good. Fang Menghan had just broken a melon. She didn't feel it yesterday, but today she felt pain all over her body. Ning Shu called her and left. Fang Menghan wanted to ask Ning Shu to help her apply for leave, but she had already left the dormitory. Fang Menghan slowly got up from the bed. Although her body was in pain, she had learned a few songs. Moreover, Yang Yue had taught her how to sing these songs. During class, Ning Shu was in a daze most of the time. He was thinking about the next plan in his mind. He looked back at Fang Menghan and Yang Yue who were sitting together. After not seeing Yang Yue for a while, he felt that Yang Yue had become more handsome. It wasn't his face that became more handsome, but his spirit. He raised his head and puffed out his chest, giving people a different feeling. Successful and famous men were the most charming. They had a strong charm. Ning Shu retracted his gaze and took out his phone to send a text to Li Xinza. He told Li Xinze to pay attention to his rest and that he must eat, blah blah blah. Ning Shu didn't know if it was because he didn't have any feelings, but when he looked at his own messages, they were all dry. Forget it. If there's nothing important, it's better not to send messages. After class, Ning Shu immediately returned to the dormitory. He took out his computer from the cupboard, turned it on, and browsed the entertainment news. The Li Family Entertainment Company released a few more songs, and the first song was a classic. Ning Shu listened to it, and it was similar to the songs from the other world. Also, the Li Family's company said that they had filmed a few TV series, and 2 of them were about to finish filming. When the news came out, some people said that the Li family was too arrogant, while others were looking forward to it. There should be a white lady in these 2 dramas. If Ning Shu had to choose, he would have played this drama first. This drama had the largest audience. The immortals, demons, humans, and ghosts inside were very exciting. Using this drama to launch the company's first shot would definitely be very successful. Ning Shu typed on the keyboard and sent an email to the Li family's company, suggesting that they play the drama first. He also explained his reason. The other party replied very quickly, saying that they would accept Ning Shu's suggestion. Do you know who this person is? Li Xinze looked at the computer and asked the employee. The employee shook his head. I don't know. If this kind of talent doesn't stay in the company, it's like cutting off a piece of meat. Li Xinze sighed. Find a way to meet him, no matter what. Ning Shu was writing novels. He submitted some classic novels to the publishing house, especially Jin Yong's wuxia novels. They were very popular. As long as these books existed, Yang Yuhui couldn't say that these works were his, and he didn't have the face to say that. Ning Shu searched online for publishing houses and saw that the Li family's company had entertainment newspapers, so he submitted these manuscripts to them. For example, Jin Yong's novel had been remade into a drama many times. If the novel was published by the Li family's newspaper, the copyright was also in the newspaper. Ning Shu. Other than eating in the cafeteria, Ning Shu spent most of his time in the dormitory, writing his manuscripts. After half a month, Ning Shu felt that his body was hollowed out. If it wasn't for his peerless martial arts, he would probably be like a ghost now. Ning Shu patted his face and looked up with a mask on his face. This flower-like face couldn't be ruined by writing. Fortunately, all the hardships were worth it. Ning Shu compressed and packaged the manuscripts that he had written. He thought about it and came up with a pen name, Jin Yong. If he wrote Jin Yong's book, he would use Jin Yong's pen name. If he wrote Gulong's book, he would use Gulong's pen name. If he wrote Wenrui An's book, he would use Wenrui An's name. He just didn't know if Yang Yuhui would be surprised to see these familiar names. The manuscripts sold well, and Ning Shu received an extra sum of money. Plagiarizing other people's works was a fast way to make money. Yang Yuhui relied on these manuscripts to become a person of high status and was respected by many people. He didn't know if Yang Yuhui felt guilty or not. He didn't spend a single cent plagiarizing other people's works. There will be retribution. Ning Shu chanted Amitabha and donated half of the money to the children in the mountainous areas. He kept the remaining half for his own living expenses. When the newspaper was published, Ning Shu bought a copy of the newspaper and magazine to read. Looking at Jin Yong's pen name, he decided to give Yang Yuhui a surprise. Jin Yong used the method of serializing wuxia novels to increase the newspaper's sales. Wuxia novels were very popular, and Yang Yuhui didn't read these useless newspapers. He would rather use the time to write a script. It was more valuable. When he heard his roommates discussing who was prettier, Mu Nianxi or Huang Rong, Yang Yuhui's heart skipped a beat. He snatched the newspaper from his roommate's hand. When he saw the pen name Jin Yong, Yang Yuhui felt like he was punched in the heart. His mind went blank for a moment, and his body went soft. The hand holding the newspaper trembled. Jin Yong. Yang Yuhui's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the 2 words. Could there be a Jin Yong in this world? Yang Yuhui was very frustrated. These wuxia novels were what Yang Yuhui cared about. Most importantly, Jin Yong's novels had been remade into TV series many times. The Condor Slayers had been remade many times. He had one less weapon in his hands, and one less opportunity to start a new genre. Yang Yuhui hatefully stomped the newspaper on the ground and stomped on it with all his might. Was there really a Jin Yong, or were there other people who had been reborn? There were too many doubts in Yang Yuhui's heart. He couldn't find an answer no matter how hard he thought, and it made him very anxious. Why couldn't anything go according to his wishes? The Li family company released a few more songs, and as expected, they were classics from the other world. Chapter 8:18. The songs released by the Li family's company made Yang Yuhui's liver ache. These classic songs were released one after another. Good cabbages were eaten by pigs. These songs could have created more value. Seeing the Li family's company making money crazily and thinking of Li Xinza's high and mighty attitude, Yang Yuhui felt extremely depressed. Could it be that the Li family's company also had a reincarnated person? The other party took out all the things that he had hidden, afraid that he would be slower. Yang Yuhui suspected that the person also had a search system. Otherwise, how could he write so many things? A person's memory was limited. Yang Yuhui did not dare to say that he could remember these things. If the system was not unique, then what was the use of this golden finger? Yang Yuhui crushed the newspaper with his foot, his expression sinister. "Why are you stepping on my newspaper? Are you crazy?" The roommate pushed Yang Yuhui away, pointed at him and scolded, "Let me tell you, I've tolerated you for a long time. You really think you're a big shot." The roommate pushed Yang Yuhui as he said that, and Yang Yuhui was pushed back a few steps. Yang Yuhui's expression was very unfriendly. "It's just a newspaper. I'll compensate you with 100 copies." "Bastard." The roommate punched Yang Yuhui in the mouth. Yang Yuhui was already angry. Recently, he had been highly praised by others, and now he was hit like this. Suddenly, he felt that he had offended him by hitting him. "Who do you think you are?" The two of them started to fight. There were others who tried to stop them, but more of them were watching from the sidelines. Some even fanned the flames to make Yang Yuhui take 2 more punches. Recently, Yang Yuhui had been too annoying. He was always high and mighty. "Mortals, come and worship me." The things in his computer were missing, and he was still angry at others, insisting that others touched his computer. Didn't he just write a few popular lyrics? It was as if he wanted to go to heaven. In the end, the two of them were separated. Yang Yuhui glanced at the people in the dormitory. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, snorted, and turned to leave. After such an unpleasant incident with the people in the dormitory, Yang Yuhui decided to move out and find a small apartment to stay in. He had money in his hands now, and did not want to squeeze in the same dormitory with these people. Yang Yuhui moved out on the same day. No one in the dormitory tried to persuade him to stay. They used his bed as a pile of junk. Ning Shu continued to write manuscripts every day. He wrote a little for each book. He wrote a little for Jin Yong, a little for Gulong, and a little for the others. He wrote a little for the newspapers and magazines. Yang Yuhui could not use these manuscripts, and there was one less way to make money. Even if it was written, people wouldn't think it was original. Ning Shu was busy when Li Xinza called. Ning Shu said, "There will be a new TV series produced by my company tonight. It will definitely be good. The website will be updated later, so it will be broadcasted on the satellite channel first. Remember to watch it. I filmed this TV series. Give me a like after you watch it," Li Xinza said. Ning Shu resisted the urge to spit at Li Xinza. Li Xinza was at most an assistant. Ning Shu would never believe that he was the one who filmed this TV series. Li Xinza's job was to manage a company, not film or TV series. Ning Shu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said with difficulty, "You're really good. I will wait to watch it tonight." "Yes, it will be the holidays soon. The company has a few very good scripts. Come over and I will arrange a role for you," Li Xinza said. "Haven't you always wanted to act? Come over and play a small role to hone your acting skills." Ning Shu was speechless. So now she was going to be an actress. If she had the time to play a small role, she might as well write more. The more things that were exposed, the less things that Yang Yuhui could use. Ning Shu thought about it and said, I want to go home during the holidays. This is a rare opportunity. Don't go back. The script is very good. It will definitely be popular. It will be good to show your face in front of the audience, Li Xinzi said. Didn't you say you wanted to act? You can't miss such a good opportunity. What's wrong with you? Li Xinzi's voice sounded unhappy. You can't even grasp such a good opportunity. Don't be stubborn. Ning Shu immediately said, I was wrong. I won't go back. I will go during the holidays. If you don't want to come, I won't force you, Li Xinzi said. Ning Shu, he was angry again. Ning Shu couldn't help but scratch his head. Fuck, he was so hard to please. I am very happy to go. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I can't thank you enough, Ning Shu said happily. Remember to come. Li Xinzi hung up the phone. Ning Shu looked at his phone. He was really tired. Ning Shu gulped down a large glass of water and sat down to type. Ning Shu was now racking his brains to write the song. When he packaged it and sent it to the Li family's company, he left a message for them to prepare a case and register a commercial account. This way, the song would belong to the company and it would be illegal for anyone else to release it. When the time came, he could win the lawsuit. Where would these songs be stored? He could take his time to write them. Ning Shu was mainly guarding against Yang Yue. Other than writing songs, he wrote manuscripts. He wrote Jin Yang's and Gu Long's novels and submitted them to the newspaper. At night, Ning Shu waited to see what the Li family's company's TV series was like. However, the TV series was broadcast later than the TV channels. Ning Shu stayed up until 11 p.m. to watch the TV series. It was by Su Jin, who was in love with a monster. Ning Shu watched it carefully. The quality was much better than in the other world. The special effects were also very well done. Ning Shu was fascinated by it. A group of roommates gathered behind him. After watching 2 episodes, Ning Shu was still a little unsatisfied. It's so good. Why is there no more? One of the roommates held his neck and sang, by Su Jin at the foot of Qingqing Mountain, cultivated for 1,000 years in the cave, The roommate's voice was not pleasant. It made everyone in the dormitory laugh. Chen Jianeng, this seems to be a TV series produced by your boyfriend's company. Ask him when it's broadcast every day. Fuck, my heart is itching. Anyway, it's only 2 episodes a day, Ning Shu said. Ning Shu sent a message to Li Xinzi. He said that the TV series was very good and praised Li Xinzi. This TV series was very popular in the other world. Once the summer vacation came, it would start airing. Looking at the anxious looks of his roommates, he could imagine how much money and fame it would bring to Yang Yue if this TV series was written and filmed by Yang Yue. Ning Shu turned off the computer, climbed into bed and began to cultivate. He began to think about what to do next. She would not send any more songs or manuscripts to the Li family's company. Now that the Li family's company had a lot of good things in their hands, they would succeed and become a target of public criticism. The Li family was eating meat in big mouthfuls, and the others did not even have a mouthful of soup. It would be easy for something to happen. Everyone was not having a good time. If you were not doing well, it would be better for everyone. Chapter 8:19. The scripts and lyrics of the Li family's company were all of high quality. They were all classics from that world. If he was too outstanding, there would be big problems. Everyone had to earn money together. Except for the Li family's enemies, Ning Shu planned to write for all the other companies. After making the plan, Ning Shu sighed and sat on the bed to cultivate. The next day, he was full of energy and went back to work. Ning Shu wrote a few songs to several companies. He didn't know them, so he asked for 4 times the amount from the Li family's company. It was 4,000 yuan per song. Some of the lyrics were marked with the original composer's name. Anyway, he just wanted to expose these things in advance. However, writing a script was too tiring. Ning Shu felt that he couldn't bear it anymore. There was still a gap between him and Yang Yue, who had a search system. Ning Shu wrote as many songs as he could. He wrote almost all the songs that Yang Yue had written in the script and wrote them all. After working for a while, Ning Shu felt that his body was hollowed out. Damn, now I feel like vomiting when I see the computer. I feel dizzy when I see the document. After writing the songs, Ning Shu started to write the script. Ning Shu wanted to hack into Yang Yuhui's computer, but he found that the IP address was wrong. He couldn't hack into Yang Yuhui's computer. Ning Shu looked at Fang Menghan and asked, "Why don't you go out with Yang Yuhui? It's the weekend today." Fang Menghan looked at Ning Shu and said indifferently, "Why are you so concerned about me and senior brother?" Fang Menghan's face suddenly became serious. She looked at Ning Shu with vigilance. "You started to pay attention to senior brother Yang Yuhui?" "I'm just saying. Why are you so nervous?" Ning Shu said indifferently. Fang Menghan said proudly, "Senior brother said that he has something important to do. I won't disturb him." Fang Menghan said and started to dress up. Obviously she was going out. Senior brother has his own house now. He doesn't live in the school anymore. Fang Menghan said proudly. He was still a student, but he could already buy a house. His future was limitless. Ning Shu's eyes flashed. No wonder he couldn't hack into Yang Yuhui's computer. It turned out that he had moved. Fang Menghan cleaned herself up and left. Ning Shu continued to write the script. Now that he did not know Yang Yuhui's situation, he could only speed up. When Yang Yuhui saw the TV series produced by the Li family company, he would definitely quicken his pace. Both sides were competing. They wanted to take the initiative in the interview in advance. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead and continued writing the script. He didn't know if the Yang Yuhui he wrote had been sold. However, after successfully selling 2 movies, the summer vacation came and she had to play a small role. Li Xinze drove downstairs to pick up Ning Shu. Ning Shu freshened up and went downstairs. "What happened to you?" Li Xinze blinked. Ning Shu touched his face. "What's wrong?" His face is pale and there are dark circles under his eyes. He looked like a boy who had masturbated too much and was listless. "Don't be addicted to the internet anymore." Li Xinze rubbed his forehead. He couldn't bear to look at him. Ning Shu, his face was ruined. It seemed that he had to stop for a while and work on other aspects. He really didn't want his face to be ruined. "Why don't you stay at my house during the filming? The other students have all packed up and left," Li Xinze said. Ning Shu waved his hand and said, "It's okay. I will stay in the dormitory. Filming is very busy, and you still have to rush to the dormitory." "That's too hard," Li Xinze said. Ning Shu shook his head. "No need. What was the point of staying at Li Xinze's house like this? He was a man after all. If Li Xinze and Qin Jianan wanted to have a good ending, they couldn't be so casual." Li Xinze didn't say anything when Ning Shu rejected him. "When will the filming start? I need to get ready." Ning Shu asked. He had to work on his face. "I will come and pick you up tomorrow." "Let's go eat now," Li Xinze said. "We haven't eaten together in a long time." Ning Shu nodded and got into the car. "Let's eat Chinese food this time," Ning Shu suggested. "Okay, I'll listen to you." Li Xinze took Ning Shu to a Chinese restaurant and ordered some home-cooked dishes. Li Xinze didn't eat. He watched Ning Shu eat alone. Ning Shu couldn't eat under Li Xinze's gaze. He asked, "Why aren't you eating?" "You didn't like eating mapo tofu before," Li Xinze said. Ning Shu, they were indeed lovers. They even knew each other's tastes and habits. Damn. Ning Shu didn't know how to eat now. Ning Shu picked up the knife beans that the original owner liked and said, "Sometimes you have to change your taste." Li Xinze hummed in acknowledgement and continued to eat slowly. Ning Shu let out a long breath in his heart. He felt that he should have less contact with Li Xinze. They were not the same person. Everyone had their own unique habits. No one was the same leaf and no one was the same. After eating, Li Xinze was going to send Ning Shu back. Ning Shu knew that Li Xinze was busy at the company, so he asked him to go back. Ning Shu went to the pharmacy to buy some herbs. He took it back to the dormitory and ground it into powder. He made a yurong powder and put it on his face. Recently, he had been ruining his face. Since he was going to act, it was better to have good skin for makeup. When his skin was a little tight, Ning Shu washed the yurong powder off his face. After washing it off, his skin was much smoother and more rosy. Since coming to this world, Ning Shu hadn't slept well. After washing the mask on his face, he lay on the bed and slept. Besides, he still had to play an extra tomorrow. Ning Shu slept very soundly. When he opened his eyes, he saw a face. Ning Shu was shocked. With a wooden face, he asked Li Xinze, "How did you come up?" This was the girls' dormitory. He actually came up. I came to pick you up to the set. The iron door was not closed, so I came up. Li Xinze said. Ning Shu stretched, climbed down from the bed, and washed up. Li Xinze sat on the bed and waited. When he saw Ning Shu coming out of the bathroom, he nodded and said, "You look much better today. Don't always be addicted to the internet." "I know." Ning Shu nodded. Ning Shu really didn't know how to get along with Li Xinze. Because she was not Chen Jianan, she might give herself away at any time. When Ning Shu was a wife, her husband was a scumbag. He didn't care about the client at all. No matter what the client became, they didn't care. But now this couple was in love. They were connected and cared about each other's every move. Having a boyfriend was tiring. "Let's go." Li Xinze reached out and held Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu wanted to shake off his hand, but she resisted. Li Xinze's palm was hot, which made Ning Shu feel very uncomfortable. She couldn't tolerate someone she didn't like. Chapter 8:20. Li Xinze drove to the set and asked the director to arrange a role for Ning Shu. The director sized up Ning Shu and gave Ning Shu the role of a maid, but she was killed in 2 episodes. "Do your best," Li Xinze said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded and was called to do her makeup. As a maid, she had to flatter and be humble. Ning Shu had been a maid before, serving Gij in the 4th master's backyard. But it was Ning Shu's first time acting. After a few NGs, things went much smoother. Lunch was a box of lunchboxes. The taste was not good. Ning Shu finished them all. Then, she waited at the side for her scenes and pondered over her lines. "How do you feel today?" Li Xinze asked Ning Shu in the afternoon. "I'm fine," Ning Shu said. "Why are you here?" "I'm here to check on the progress," Li Xinze said. "Have you eaten? Has work been hard?" Ning Shu said. "You should rest when you need to." Li Xinze looked at Ning Shu. "Why are you so polite?" Ning Shu? Degree? Damn it, she felt that everything she said was wrong. Everything she did was wrong. "I am concerned about you," Ning Shu said sincerely. "You don't have to be like this," Li Xinze said calmly. The two of them fell silent. Ning Shu, sigh. What should she say next? Ning Shu felt that she didn't have anything to talk about with Li Xinze. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Li Xinze turned to ask the director about the progress of the shoot. Ning Shu felt helpless. She didn't love Li Xinze. Her actions didn't show love. It didn't mean that they were in love just because they pretended to be in love. If this continued, the people who supported each other in the plot wouldn't be separated, right? It seemed that she had to speed up and leave after completing the mission. She had to ask if the client had someone in love for the next mission. Chen Jianan. The stage supervisor called Ning Shu over to start filming. Li Xinze wanted to talk to Ning Shu before leaving, but Ning Shu was called away, so he could only leave first. Ning Shu glanced at Li Xinze from the corner of his eyes and couldn't help but sigh. "So melancholy, I really want to leave this world." When dealing with scumbags, Ning Shu would not be merciful. However, when it came to Li Xinze's situation, Ning Shu felt a little numb. After filming for the day, Ning Shu called Li Xinze and told him that he was going back to the dormitory. Li Xinze asked Ning Shu to wait for him, saying that he was coming to send Ning Shu off. Ning Shu was waiting for Li Xinze on set. Li Xinze drove to the set. Li Xinze drove a silver car, which was very eye-catching. Li Xinze got out of the car handsomely and walked straight towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu instantly felt that a lot of eyes were focused on her. Their eyes were filled with doubt, envy, jealousy, disdain. During filming, Ning Shu felt that the opponent was deliberately making things difficult for her and didn't like her. Li Xinze probably had something to do with it. Let's go back," Li Xinze said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu got into the car and turned to look at Li Xinze driving. His fingers were slender and white, and his side profile was handsome and bright. He was a charming man, and now that he was in society, he was very dazzling. Ning Shu only had one thought in his mind, and that was to finish the task quickly and leave. Ning Shu could feel that Li Xinze was suspecting him. When they reached the dormitory, Ning Shu opened the car door. Li Xinze also got out of the car and walked in front of Ning Shu, putting his hand on Ning Shu's shoulder. Li Xinze lowered his head and looked at Ning Shu, his head getting lower and lower. Ning Shu's body stiffened, and goosebumps appeared all over. "Fuck, is he going to kiss me?" Looking at the face that was getting closer and closer, Li Xinze's hot breath was on her face. Ning Shu's face twitched, and he hurriedly said, You have something on your head." Li Xinze paused, and he just looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised his hand and patted Li Xinze's head. He laughed and said, "There's some dust on your head." Li Xinze pursed his lips and said, "Go up and have a good rest. You still have a scene tomorrow." Ning Shu's heart was scratching, and he felt more and more numb. He wanted to explain. That. "You go up," Li Xinze said. Ning Shu couldn't help but scratch the back of his head, and he looked at Li Xinze. "Then I'll go up. You have to have a good rest too." Li Xinze sighed. Hearing Li Xinze's sigh, Ning Shu couldn't help but sigh as well. Li Xinze speechlessly looked at Ning Shu, and finally laughed. "Why are you so awkward recently? It's like you're a different person." Ning Shu didn't say anything. "Then I'll go up. You go first, I'll watch you leave," Ning Shu said. Li Xinze got into the car, reversed, and left. When Li Xinze's car was out of sight, Ning Shu turned around and went up to the dormitory. First, he took a shower, and then he took out his computer from the cabinet. He browsed the entertainment news, and found a few familiar songs. It was obviously new songs written by Yang Yue. Ning Shu opened the school forum, and there were all kinds of posts. Ning Shu browsed through these posts, and he saw Yang Yuhui's name. His nickname in the forum was Yang Yuhui Deity. "TSK, there seems to be someone who would impersonate you." Ning Shu checked the IP address of this nickname, and according to this IP address, he hacked into Yang Yuhui's computer. Yang Yuhui's computer had a lot of things, a lot of scripts and songs. Ning Shu didn't even think about it, and hacked Yang Yuhui's computer. After getting the script, Ning Shu compressed it and sent it out. Now, Yang Yuhui already had a bit of fame. On the internet, he was a new lyricist and scriptwriter. Looking at the long list of glory, Ning Shu curled his lips. Using other people's things to gain glory, how big of a heart do you have to be to say that these things are yours? Ning Shu submitted the script to various companies, and soon they replied. They discussed the price with Ning Shu. The other party gave a high price, and Ning Shu agreed. Ning Shu donated half of the money he received. After doing these things, Ning Shu took out the Yurong powder from the cabinet, made it into a facial mask, and put it on his face. After finishing, Ning Shu lay on the bed and slept happily. Ning Shu was in a good mood, but Yang Yuhui was so angry that he wanted to tear down the house. The things in his computer disappeared again. How could this be? Yang Yuhui didn't care how expensive the computer was, and directly smashed it. Most importantly, why were things always so bad for him? When he went to buy the script, he was told that the company already had the script. Yang Yuhui had the mentality of waiting for the best price, and when he sold the script, many companies submitted it, and he would sell it to the company that gave the highest price. Yang Yuhui now wanted to quickly get enough capital, and then use the money to prepare a work that would become an instant hit. But as time passed, Yang Yuhui found that his advantage was getting smaller and smaller, because more and more things appeared in that world. Chapter 821. Until now, Yang Yuhui still didn't know who the reincarnated person was. More and more works were exposed, and a lot of good works were ruined. Yang Yuhui had no choice but to hand over all his works. He wanted to win the competition. Every time Yang Yuhui saw the songs and TV series of Li Xinze's company, his heart was bleeding. These were all classics. Yang Yuhui really wanted to find the guy who hid his head and showed his tail, but there was no trace of him. The things in his manuscript were stolen. He suspected that it was his roommate in the dormitory, but now that he moved out, the manuscript was still lost. Senior brother, what happened to you? Fang Menghan opened the door and saw the broken computer on the ground. She was stunned. When she saw Yang Yuhui's red eyes, Fang Menghan's heart skipped a beat. It was the first time Fang Menghan saw such a scary Yang Yuhui. She wanted to run away, but she endured it. Yang Yuhui sat on the sofa and didn't move. Fang Menghan poured a glass of water for Yang Yuhui and asked softly, "Senior brother, what happened?" Yang Yuhui stared at Fang Menghan without blinking. Fang Menghan was frightened by the suspicion in Yang Yuhui's eyes. She whispered, "Senior brother? Did you touch my computer?" Yang Yuhui asked. Thinking about it, only Fang Menghan had a house in this house. They were now boyfriend and girlfriend, but they weren't. They were more like bed partners. Fang Menghan also benefited. Yang Yuhui personally selected a song suitable for Fang Menghan from the search system. "I didn't touch your computer, really." Fang Menghan quickly proved her innocence. "You said that there was something important in your computer, so I didn't dare to touch it." Yang Yuhui frowned tightly. Seeing Fang Menghan's nervous and aggrieved look, and her beautiful nose was sweating, Yang Yuhui's heart softened. Yang Yuhui boasted that he was a person who cared about women. Although he was suspicious, he didn't hit Fang Menghan. "Give me the key. I have to go out for a while. This house is empty," Yang Yuhui said. Fang Menghan was stunned for a moment before she asked with some agitation, "Senior brother, did I do something wrong? Why are you chasing me away?" The key to the house was given to her by Yang Yuhui. The house was well renovated and comfortable to live in. Now that he wanted the key back, did Yang Yuhui want to break up with her? Or was he suspecting that she had touched his computer? Fang Menghan quickly said, "Senior brother, I really didn't touch your computer." Yang Yuhui cared a lot about his computer. She didn't even have the chance to touch his computer. Fang Menghan felt wronged. She felt that Yang Yuhui was venting his anger on her. This man was really heartless. She took care of him in this house, washing his clothes, cooking for him, and taking care of him. Fang Menghan bit her lips and stubbornly handed the keys to Yang Yuhui. She was also a little angry that such a beautiful person like her was with Yang Yuhui. She had been together with Yang Yuhui before he had achieved success. She did not despise him. Now that he had some achievements, he wanted to abandon her? Fang Menghan forced a smile and reluctantly said, "Then I'm leaving. Take good care of yourself." Yang Yuhui's lips moved twice. In the end, he had no intention of keeping Fang Menghan. Recently, he had been pestered by a delinquent girl. This delinquent girl said that she was his fan and insisted that he give her an autograph. She even brought a group of delinquents to ask for autographs. Yang Yuhui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was also the beautiful president whose company was about to collapse. Yang Yuhui had written a script for her. It would definitely bring her company back to life. Now that he had met more and more women, he didn't care about Fang Menghan as much. If Fang Menghan could stay by his side forever, he would definitely treat her well. After all, Fang Menghan was his first woman. But he was in a bad mood now. So many manuscripts were missing. It was very manly of him to not strangle her neck. Fang Menghan could only take her bag and leave. She went back to the school dormitory. When Fang Menghan returned to the dormitory, she saw Ning Shu applying a facial mask. She peeked at Ning Shu's computer. It seemed that he was playing a new drama called The Legend of the White Snake. Fang Menghan remembered that when this drama was first released, Yang Yuhui was very angry. She asked him what was wrong, but Yang Yuhui didn't answer. He just stared at the TV as if he wanted to bore a hole through it. Fang Menghan felt that Yang Yuhui was a little abnormal recently. His face was gloomy all day long, and he didn't look as handsome as before. He looked as if he had a deep hatred. When Ning Shu saw Fang Menghan, he was a little surprised and said, "School hasn't started yet. Why are you back?" Fang Menghan rolled her eyes. She didn't go home at all. She stayed with Yang Yuhui. But now, she was inexplicably kicked out of the house. Ning Shu saw that Fang Menghan was depressed. She looked like she was abandoned. Did she break up with Yang Yuhui? Ning Shu washed the makeup off her face and looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was fair and rosy, and her skin was bouncy. He looked really beautiful. Fang Menghan saw Ning Shu coming out of the bathroom. His skin was so good that Fang Minghan's eyes were fixed on him. She couldn't help but ask, "What facial mask are you using?" "Li Xinzi gave it to me." Ning Shu smiled. Fang Minghan rolled her eyes. "Why are you showing off your love?" Thinking that Yang Yuhui kicked her out, she was in no mood to ask Ning Shu what facial mask he was using. Only Fang Minghan and Ning Shu were in the dormitory. The two of them were silent. Ning Shu pulled the curtain and sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate for a while. Then he lay down on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Li Xinzi arrived at the dormitory. When he saw that there was one more person in the dormitory, he was a little embarrassed. Fang Minghan saw Li Xinzi in a shirt and suit. She had to admit that Li Xinzi was better looking than Yang Yue. In addition, he was working now. He was even more charming. Ning Shu got up from the bed and washed up. He said to Li Xinzi, "Let's go." Fang Minghan hurriedly got up from the bed and asked Li Xinzi, "Where are you going in the morning?" Ning Shu was speechless. "It's none of your business." Li Xinzi said, "Jianan is filming now. I'm sending her to the set." Fang Minghan smiled and said quickly, "Senior, can you help me get a small role? I'm so free before school starts." Li Xinzi didn't say anything. He glanced at Ning Shu and suddenly said, "Okay, let's go together." Ning Shu was speechless. "Jianan, she's your roommate. You can take care of each other if we go together. Are you okay with that?" Li Xinzi asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu was speechless. "What's going on now?" Ning Shu thought about it and finally raised his chin. "I don't agree." Li Xinzi raised his eyebrows. "Why?" But something is wrong. I don't know if he's trying to make me jealous or he's really changing his mind. Anyway, I can't let them have anything to do with each other. Chapter 8:22. Ning Shu really wanted to punch the ground. It was really hard to guess what a man was thinking. Fang Minghan asked for a role without any hesitation. She even asked for a role from someone else's boyfriend, and her boyfriend even agreed. She might be poached by someone else. Ning Shu was good at destroying other people's relationships, not maintaining a relationship. Relationships were fragile. It was easy to destroy them, but hard to maintain them. A small matter could make a relationship disappear. Before she left, she couldn't let Chen Jianan and Li Xinzi break up. "There are no extras on set," Ning Shu said with a straight face. Fang Minghan couldn't help but say, "Even if there are extras, there are still extras. How can there be no extras?" Ning Shu rolled his eyes. "There aren't any." Li Xinzi curled his lips and said to Fang Minghan, "This movie is being filmed in a big house, so there aren't many extras." "I will inform you if there are any roles in the future," Li Xinzi said to Fang Minghan. Fang Minghan's face suddenly turned ugly. She glanced at Ning Shu, went into the bathroom, and closed the door. Ning Shu and Li Xinzi went downstairs. Li Xinzi said, "She is your roommate. Won't it be difficult for you to get along with her in the future?" Ning Shu said expressionlessly, "Even if she wants a role, she should tell me first. Then I will tell you. Why did she ask my boyfriend for a role directly? Either she doesn't understand relationships, or she has other intentions. Why did she ask you before me?" Li Xinzi nodded and drove Ning Shu to the set. Today, Ning Shu only finished one scene. After Ning Shu finished filming, he planned to go back. When he passed by a set, he saw Yang Yue there. Ning Shu walked over to take a look. What kind of show was this? This should be the script written by Yang Yue. It was a period drama. Yang Yue was talking to the director. He didn't know what he said, but the director didn't look very happy. Yang Yue didn't look happy either. Yang Yue was speechless. A good script had been shot in such a way. This script was definitely going to be a success, but it had been shot in such a way and the costumes were not exquisite. It was a complete waste of the script. He still wanted to use this script to earn more money. He said a few words to the director, but the director didn't listen. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't have enough capital, he would have filmed such a drama himself. No wonder the entertainment industry in this world is such a mess. Yang Yue sighed helplessly in his heart. Ning Shu saw that Yang Yue's face was shrouded in gloom. He guessed that things weren't going well recently. Many good things no longer belonged to Yang Yue. Yang Yuhui turned around and saw Ning Shu with an indifferent expression. Seeing this woman, Yang Yuhui felt uncomfortable in his heart. This woman was the beginning of his failure. Once he failed on her, it started a series of failures. "Why are you here?" Yang Yue said to Ning Shu snappily. Ning Shu smiled. "I'm filming on another set." Yang Yue saw Ning Shu's smile and felt even more uncomfortable. It evoked an unparalleled hostility in Yang Yuhui's heart. Yes, it was hostility. Yang Yuhui used to think that this woman was annoying. She was a green tea bitch who loved vanity. Now, he felt very uncomfortable. With a strong sense of hostility, Yang Yuhui didn't know where this hostility came from. Yang Yue and Ning Shu brushed past each other. He frowned and turned around to ask Ning Shu, "Has Fang Menghan returned to the dormitory?" Ning Shu was a little surprised. Why did he ask her about this kind of thing? He could have just called her and asked. "She has gone back." Yang Yuhui turned around and left. It was really inexplicable. Ning Shu hailed a taxi and went back to the dormitory. Yang Yue left the set and took out his phone to call Fang Menghan. When Fang Menghan saw that Yang Yue was calling her, she was very happy and quickly asked, "Senior, what's the matter?" Yang Yue asked Fang Menghan, "Chen Jinan, who is in the same dormitory as you, why are you asking about her? Are you going to confess to her?" Fang Menghan was suddenly angry and said unhappily. Could it be that he still hadn't given up on Chen Jianan? Chen Jianan was really amazing. She had a rich second-generation boyfriend and still made Senior pay attention to her. "I'm just asking if there's anything unusual about Chen Jianan." Yang Yuhui was very uncomfortable in his heart. Yang Yue couldn't tell where this feeling came from. It was a kind of frightening feeling. It was as if a big stone suddenly appeared in front of him when he was walking. If he didn't move the stone away, he couldn't move forward. Fang Menghan was even more unhappy when she heard Yang Yuhui's words. She said perfunctorily, "There's nothing unusual. She's just with her boyfriend every day." Yang Yuhui, of course, could tell that Fang Menghan was being perfunctory. He said in a low and serious voice, "I'm asking you if there's anything unusual about her, or if she suddenly has a lot of money?" "No, there's nothing unusual," Fang Menghan said coldly. "This is very important. Tell me about it." Fang Menghan was even more uncomfortable in her heart. She was still thinking about Chen Jianan. "If you don't want to say it, then forget it." Yang Yue was annoyed by Fang Menghan's ignorance and was about to hang up the phone. Fang Menghan had been with Yang Yue for a while. She knew that Yang Yue was angry. She quickly said, "There's really nothing strange about her. Does being online count?" "She stays in the dormitory and surfs the internet all day long," Fang Menghan said. "Does she type every day?" Yang Yue asked. Fang Menghan rolled her eyes. "Seems like it." Yang Yuhui narrowed his eyes and hung up the phone. He guessed that Chen Jianan might be a reborn person. Fang Menghan still wanted to say something, but the phone was busy. Fang Menghan was so angry that she stomped her feet. Her face was full of disgust. This Chen Jianan was really like a ghost. Both of them were campus belles. Two tigers couldn't live on the same mountain. Their relationship wasn't good. It was full of competition. As soon as Ning Shu returned to the dormitory, she was faced with Fang Menghan's resentful face. Fang Menghan looked at Ning Shu with resentment. Ning Shu was speechless. She wasn't angry at Fang Menghan's behavior in the morning, but now she was throwing a tantrum. She was really speechless. "Chen Jianan, can you be a little more restrained? You have a boyfriend, but you still want to seduce someone else's boyfriend." Fang Menghan said angrily, "You're a green tea bitch." Ning Shu looked at Fang Menghan, dumbfounded. "Who's the green tea bitch? You asked Li Xinze for a role this morning. What do you mean? I think you're the one who wants to seduce Li Xinze." "When did I seduce Li Xinze? You just seduced my senior, and he called to ask about you. Don't tell me you don't interact with him in private? You're crazy. When did I have anything to do with your senior? You're accusing me for no reason. What did he say?" Chapter 8:23. Ning Shu felt a little uneasy. Since when did Yang Yuhui start to pay attention to her? He even called to ask about her. Did Yang Yuhui discover something? There's nothing between Yang Yuhui and me. Are you crazy? Ning Shu said sarcastically. What did Yang Yuhui ask you? Why are you acting like this? Fang Menghan took a deep breath and raised her hand to slap Ning Shu. Ning Shu grabbed Fang Menghan's wrist, raised her hand and slapped Fang Menghan. If you touch me again, I'll hit you again. Ning Shu sat on the table. Fang Menghan covered her face and took a deep breath. She said fiercely, Chenjinan, I won't let you off. Senior is my boyfriend. If you have any shame, don't pester my senior. Ning Shu looked at Fang Menghan's agitated expression indifferently. There was nothing between her and Yang Yuhui, but Fang Menghan was so agitated. In the storyline, Yang Yuhui had so many women. How did Fang Menghan endure it? However, Yang Yuhui was already famous. There were benefits to being with Yang Yuhui, so she endured it. What did Yang Yuhui say to you? Ning Shu asked. Fang Menghan was slapped by Ning Shu, so she was angry. She was unwilling to answer Ning Shu's question. Then I'll call Yang Yuhui myself. Ning Shu said and took out her phone. Don't call him. He just asked me if there's anything unusual about you recently. Fang Menghan said quickly. Ning Shu frowned. Yang Yuhui suspected her. In that case, she had to be more careful. She had to carry pepper spray with her. What did you say? Ning Shu looked at Fang Menghan coldly. What did you say to Yang Yuhui? Ning Shu approached Fang Menghan with a strong aura. Fang Menghan took 2 steps back and stammered, You, what do you want? Fang Menghan covered her face, afraid that Ning Shu would slap her face again. I asked you, how did you answer Yang Yuhui? Ning Shu asked. I told you that you love to surf the internet. Fang Menghan pushed Ning Shu away. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. She didn't even approach Yang Yuhui. She didn't have much interaction with Yang Yuhui. They were all hiding in the dormitory and playing tricks, so Yang Yuhui suspected her. He really couldn't figure it out. The next day, Ning Shu prepared to go out of school to buy some breakfast. Because school hadn't started yet, the cafeteria wasn't open yet. Ning Shu met Yang Yuhui at the school gate. He saw that Yang Yuhui seemed to be waiting for him here. Ning Shu's eyes narrowed. He pretended not to see him and left. Yang Yuhui reached out to stop Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at Yang Yuhui expressionlessly. What are you doing? Chenjinan, let's talk. Yang Yuhui's eyes kept sweeping over Ning Shu's face. Ning Shu was a little impatient. What do I have to talk to you about? I don't know you well. Then I'll get straight to the point. Are you here to sell songs and scripts? Ning Shu was puzzled. I'm an actor. I don't know how to write songs and scripts. Yang Yuhui took a deep breath. Are you reborn? What rebirth? You've been reading too many fantasy novels. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Is it so easy to be reborn? Can anyone be reborn? Why are you looking for me? Ning Shu was even more impatient. Yang Yuhui, can you stop bothering me? I already have a boyfriend. I have nothing to do with you. I can't accept you. Yang Yuhui looked at Ning Shu's arrogant face and heard Ning Shu's words. He was simply disgusted. Why didn't he take a look at himself? How could he have liked such a woman in the past? He had a crush on her for so many years. Back then, when she married Li Xinza, he was sad for a long time. Looking at it now, it was so ugly that he wanted to vomit. Yang Yuhui gave Ning Shu a deep look, then turned around and left. Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and looked at Yang Yuhui's back view. He went out of school to buy breakfast. On the way back, he met a few hooligans in the countryside. These hooligans were frivolous. Ning Shu whistled. Yo, pretty girl, come and have some fun. Ning Shu, the hooligan reached out his hand to pull Ning Shu. Ning Shu gave him a slap. How dare you touch me? I'll slap you to death. The hooligan was slapped by Ning Shu until half of his face was swollen. He was dizzy and couldn't help but shake his head. Stupid bitch, I'll teach you a lesson. The hooligan Ning Shu glared and rushed over. Ning Shu took out the pepper spray and sprayed it into the eyes of the hooligans who rushed over. The hooligans couldn't open their eyes because of the pepper spray. Ning Shu kicked the hooligans to the ground one by one. They lay on the ground moaning. Ning Shu took the breakfast and left. A girl came out of a cafe not far away. This girl was wearing a leather jacket and leather pants. She looked very cool with short hair. Damn, so many people can't even beat a girl. Do they have any future? The girl put her hands on her waist. Her waist was slender and her legs were long and straight. Big sis, that bitch is really heavy-handed. The hooligan groaned. The girl couldn't help but rub her forehead. Really shameful. I lost face in front of my idol. Yang Yuhui also came out of the cafe and walked to the girl's side. When the girl saw Yang Yuhui, she immediately scratched the ground with her toes and embarrassedly said, "It's all because my subordinates are useless." "It's not your fault. Thank you for this matter," Yang Yuhui softly said. The girl patted Yang Yuhui's shoulder. "I just casually found these useless guys. I didn't even release the elites. Next time, I'll find someone else to help you teach that woman a lesson." "How did that woman provoke you and make you so angry?" the girl asked. It could be said that it was not a life-and-death hatred. Now that Qin Jinan was a suspect, Yang Yuhui would not let her go. He obviously had a search system, but it was restricted everywhere. Some of the things that should have been taken out by him were taken out by someone else. Although he had some money in his hands, but to do big things, this money was not enough. The more money he had, the more he wanted to have more money. "How do you want me to deal with her?" the girl asked Yang Yuhui. "Do you want me to secretly kill her?" Yang Yuhui shook his head. "Although you're a gangster, it's still not good to take someone's life. Cut the tendons in her hands so that she can't stay in school anymore," Yang Yuhui said in a low voice. If the tendons in her hands were cut, her hands would be weak and unable to type. Yang Yuhui thought for a moment and said, "Just cut off her tongue." Without her tongue, it would be difficult to speak. The girl nodded. "I'll find some professionals to do these things." "Thank you." Yang Yuhui held the girl's hand. "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.